Truth Table News World. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Your host, Armando Gonzalez, back here again. Hey, I'm back off from special assignment. I've been gone for a little bit. Hope you guys are having some good times, right? Hope you're having some good times. Yeah, lots been going on, man. Not only was I in special assignment, but I'm also got my third grandchild in on the oh man, I am exhausted. Yeah, brand new baby girl. My daughter had grandchild number 3. Finally got a girl. She's doing good, but she was 2.5 months early. She's in NICU right now, but both mama and baby are doing absolutely fantastic. Just opened her eyes up yesterday, and she is a absolute doll. Anyway, today, let me just give you some little bit of an update here. Hope you guys are doing great, by the way. Ghost will be popping in here in about 30 minutes or so. He's trying to wrap up some loose ends. So yeah, he'll definitely come on. He's already emailed me. So tonight's going to be a long one. Okay. And the reason being is that there's a lot to cover. I got some good stuff that I can share with you guys tonight while I was out on special assignment having to do with the shitstorm that's going out there in the Caribbean. But I just kind of want to start off talking about, what is FEMA's role? What is their actual role? What is really up with them? A lot of people seem to know or have an idea of what they do and what they're responsible for, but not really. So I'm going to dive real deep into that. And then the second part of the show, the second segment, is going to be having to do with our current state. Okay, having to do with the presidential address last night. I would love to get your comments in the chat on what you thought about that. I have mine. I'm not happy about it. I'm kind of pissed off. I'm really pissed off at, let's just say, the entire administration and not necessarily the president. Okay, I support him. He has my full support, right? No problem there. It's the in-betweens that I have a problem with because a lot of stuff has surfaced and has shed to light, and I kind of started drawing my own perspectives, kind of started connecting my own dots, if you will, on that whole thing, and I'm going to break it down for you, and I'm going to kind of forecast out on what I see coming in the beginning of 2026 and what I see coming probably for the elections in 28, okay? I'll just tell you right now, my gut's not very happy at the moment with what I see so far. So, but we'll cover that in the second segment. Just some quick announcements here to get started before I kick this off while I'm waiting for people to pop into the chat here. If you're new to Truth Table News World over on YouTube, we are streaming live over on YouTube. You can find me out there at Truth Table News World on YouTube, and of course here on Rumble also as well. Let's start out with taking care of some announcements. So the QR code that you see up there on screen, up there in the corner, scan that QR code on your device. Okay, so that way you have links to all my socials. You have links also to, guess what? 444 Media finally got the merch store going up. All right, so make sure you click on that. That's all available right now. I'm sporting the new t-shirt. This is the new VIP 444 Media t-shirt. I'll see if I can stand up a little bit and give you a better view. So we got the corner logo over here. Sorry, I can't point. And on the back, if I may, it is the full print, right? So that's the 444 Media VIP t-shirt. There's a bunch of other shirts that are out there. Hats, 2 styles of hats, one for Truth Table News World in white, and this one, the 444 Media hat. More merch is coming. Okay, so if you want to support the show, you can go ahead and do that. Just like I said, click the QR code that you see up on your screen there and look for 444 Media merch store, right? Merchandise store. And just click on the link. It'll take you right to the store. Or you can go down there on the bottom of your screen there where it says join, right? Or support, follow, whatever. You're going to see a little shopping bag there that says shop. You can go ahead and click on that and it'll take you right over to the merch store also as well. We had a fan of the show, I'll just drop his name. Mr. Ranger. Hopefully he'll be in here popping in pretty soon. He got himself a hoodie. All right. He got the 444 Media hoodie. Yeah, I got hoodies out there too. So enjoy that. And I appreciate the support. JJ Johnson from Finland. Welcome to the broadcast. Let me see. Good evening. Gotta say, I love to see EU getting shit thrown at them. Farmers are the best. I saw that. They were literally getting sprayed with manure. That was actually really, really funny. Well, welcome to the broadcast, JJ. Glad that you are here sharing with us. We're gonna have let me see who else is here. Gosh, I'm falling behind here, man. I just am. Let me go over here. Let's see. At Jermaine dash CO3TB. I hope I got that right and I didn't screw it up. In the chat, Jeremiah Belcher, welcome to the broadcast. He's watching over there from YouTube. Awesome. Glad to see that you guys are all here. Jermaine also over there from YouTube. Thank you so much for popping into the stream tonight. All right, folks, like I said earlier in the beginning, in case you missed it, Ghost is running about 30 minutes behind schedule. He is trying to wrap up some stuff on his end. Like I said, things are happening. It's really, really busy right now. Sam Spencer, welcome to the broadcast, brother. Glad you're here. So what I'm going to do is as you guys know, I've said it before on previous broadcasts, I am reading William Cooper or Bill Cooper's book, Behold the Pale Horse. I've been wanting to get my hands on that book for a while, and I finally did. And I'm going through it like there's no tomorrow, right? But halfway through the book, I came to FEMA, okay? And that's why I coined the broadcast tonight. You know, what is FEMA's role, right? And we're doing a deep dive into FEMA tonight, along with some other stuff in the second segment of the broadcast today with current state, especially the presidential address, like I said earlier, last night, which I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to spoil it. But why FEMA? Why FEMA? FEMA plays a critical role. Where I'm at, geographically located, I have a big, really big camp near me. I have seen that facility with my own eyes. I went off-roading one day when I used to have my Jeep, and I accidentally stumbled upon it with some friends. There was nobody there, right? It's completely vacated, but there was a lot of white vehicles that had UN on them. I guess it was just overstock or whatever the case may be, but they were there. I didn't pay no attention to it. Everything was overgrown, lots of weeds. First thing that stuck out to me was the fence right around the facility. And the first thing that stuck out to me was the barbed wire on top of the fence. It was facing in and not out. That should tell you something, right? Okay. That facility, a few months ago, when we had these military drills here locally to me, lots of helicopters, roads blocked off, lots of chatter going on, lots of scare, all that kind of stuff. My buddy called me up and he told me, hey, the camp's open again. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, it's open again. I'm like, so, okay, cool. Well, so that kind of, pointed in the direction of where I'm going tonight. So I'm basically going to go through a bunch of stuff here on FEMA, but I'm going to read to you what Bill Cooper said about FEMA. Then I'm going to give you what I uncovered during my assignment on what's actually public knowledge, okay, and what I found. And I want you guys to draw contrast because there are some irregularities in the actual, this is what's really their role, okay, compared to what Bill said in his book. Okay, so there's a lot of gaps in there. There's a lot of stuff that got shuffled around, but I'll let you draw your own conclusion and come up with your own opinion on what you feel is reality, I guess is the best way I can put it, or what is really pertinent to you because of what? Because of what I see coming down the road and not long-term out. I'm going to go ahead and just forecast beginning January. That's next month. Okay. And going in through 26. Okay. Lots of issues. So bear with me here because I got my report up on screen, but I'm going to read to you what Bill's deal is. Okay. What he said in his book and during his investigations. And we're just going to go from there. All right. So let's get it started. So FEMA basically could literally take over local, state, and federal government. This means that the Constitution of the United States could be suspended in the event of what? The president declaring a national emergency. He's already voiced that a few times, whether it has to do with immigration, whether it has to do with terrorism, narco trafficking, narco terrorism, Venezuela, who knows, right? It's just if he decides, hey, national emergency, here we go, right? Bill says in his book, FEMA could literally take over local, state, and federal government. This means that the Constitution of the United States would be what? Suspended. Okay. The diversions used are terrible if allowed to sneak through. One is a clause that would eliminate the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, and there would and they would eliminate the Eighth Amendment to the Constitution. The diversion would cause heated argument over these two provisions, resulting in some sort of compromise while allowing the declaration of a 5-year state of national emergency, you heard it right, 5 years, to sail right through Congress and become signed into law. And then in bold print, he puts, if that happens, it's goodbye USA, hello New World Order. Okay. Now, understand that this book was written some years ago, I believe 1989. All right. So he's in that reality, in that realm back in the 80s. All right. So call your congressman and insist that he or she deliver into your hands a complete copy of H.R. 4079. You may want to take notes on this. H.R. 4079. This is important. And do it immediately. This was back then. Okay. Do not take no for an answer and defeat it. Read it and defeat it, right? So this was added before press time. H.R. 4079 may have been secretly passed into SB. Senate Bill 2834 was passed, and H.R. 4079 may be public law, and that PL or public law is 101-647. And we're going to cover and dive into all this, okay? And this was signed into law by President Bush on November 29th, 1990. If this has occurred, then we're already subject to FEMA's takeover. Okay. FEMA's takeover. All right. I'm attempting to acquire a copy of PL 101-647. This late breaking news was furnished by a congressional staffer member who has not been verified as of January 8th, 1991. Okay, so we're talking in the 90s here. And then he goes into H.R. 4079 and FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. Keyword there, management agency, okay? A tool that can be used to establish the police state. Patriots and tax protesters must never be found at home on any holiday. Your life depends on how well you can obey that rule. So what's he basically saying here? I'm going to fast forward here. And again, my opinion, okay, allegedly, all right, whites, Christians, patriots, veterans, targets, okay, targets. Get yourself this book and read it. I'm telling you, it is a great, great read, okay, but never be found at home on any holiday. For example, Thanksgiving, Christmas, right? Because they got your name, your address, they know where you're at. They can easily just show up at your front door and say, we'd like to take you in for the questioning, okay? Or papers, please, one of those deals, right? So that's coming out of Bill's book. Now, I'm going to dive in and let you guys know about what I found in my investigation as far as what is actual law according to our government and how they interpreted Bill's investigations. I'll just leave it at that, right? So here's a summary of what powers Federal Emergency Management System, or agency, FEMA, has from its creation to today. And this covers what the law and regulations actually give FEMA, okay? Ooh. So, FEMA has, from its creation to today, done the following. All right. This basically just covers regulations actually given to FEMA permission to do sometimes, and what it does not do. All right. So, origins and legal foundations: Disaster Relief Act of 1974, which is Public Law 93-288, was the early federal law for disaster relief. FEMA's earliest federal disaster assistance roots trace to this law, which is FEMA plus one. All right. Alley Cat, welcome to the chat. Sam, Spencer, Cheshire Cat. Man, haven't seen you all in a while. Thank you for stopping by. Awesome. Alley Cat saying here it's a very good book. Yes, it is. Indeed, it is. All right. So FEMA was officially created April 1st, 1979 by Executive Order 12127 and expanded under Executive Order 12148 to unify many separate agencies and functions dealing with emergencies, civil defense, disaster relief, and coordination under one roof. That would be FEMA plus two. Now, the core statutory authority for FEMA's modern mission is the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act, okay, which is Stafford Act Public Law 100-707, and this is from 1988. So the law defines how federal disaster assistance is delivered, triggers for federal involvement, and what FEMA can do, okay? So FEMA's key powers and responsibilities over time, including up to today. Under the Stafford Act and other laws, FEMA is empowered to lead and coordinate federal disaster and emergency management for all hazards, including natural disasters, terrorist attacks. Keep that in mind, terrorist attacks, and other emergencies. Okay, other emergencies. Remember Bill Cooper? Bill Cooper said what? President invokes national emergencies, FEMA takes over. Okay? Management, right? Just like they took over in North Carolina with the mudslides. Sorry. Yeah. All right. So triggering federal aid via declarations: when a state's resources are overwhelmed, the state governor can request a federal major disaster or emergency declaration. If the president grants it, FEMA becomes the lead federal agency for coordinating assistance. All right. This is GovInfo +2, Department of Homeland Security. Coordinating federal response via federal coordinating officer, or the FCO, upon a disaster declaration. FEMA appoints an FCO to lead the federal disaster response and coordinate all federal aid, resources, and agencies involved. Okay, that's from GovInfo. All right. Providing direct assistance to states. If I can get my freaking mouse to work here, that'll be great. There we go. Providing direct assistance to states, tribal governments, local governments, nonprofits, and individuals. This includes financial assistance, grants, emergency protective measures, debris removal, temporary housing, rebuilding support, and more. So, first question I got is, those of you that are from North Carolina, I think a couple of you in here are, did they do any of that during the mudslides and the floods? It's just a question. And I am scrolling the chat, so feel free to pop in. All right, so hazard mitigation and preparedness programs. FEMA leads or supports planning and grant-based mitigation efforts before disasters strike. For example, flood, plain planning, building codes. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but this is, the hypocrisy here is just overwhelming. Resilient infrastructure, and so on. All right, recovery and long-term rebuilding efforts. After the immediate disaster response, FEMA helps with public infrastructure repair, rebuilding communities, supporting individuals, and restoring essential services. Again, was any of that done for you guys? Under the Biden administration, of course, right? Which I heard, rumor tells me that he directed all MAGA country areas, municipalities, counties, whatever, states, whatever. Yeah, nothing to see here, ignore it. Just don't do anything, right? Just as a little poke in the ribs there. But anyway, that's allegedly. So now, coordinating with state, local, tribal governments, FEMA's statutory role is as a support agency, not the lead at the outset. Disaster response responsibility lies first with local agencies. All right. Listen carefully here because this changes. All right. Then state FEMA supplements when those are overwhelmed. Uh, and that's from GovFacts too. All right. All hazards mandate FEMA's mission covers natural disasters, hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, wildfires, et cetera, et cetera. Public health emergencies, terrorism incidents. That's a new one. Terrorism incidents. Okay. FEMA takes over. Remember the camps, right? FEMA camps, barbed wire facing in. Okay. And other man-made disasters or emergencies. See, this is very, very broad. They're not really giving you details as to what the specifics are, like terrorism incidents, right? Are you talking about mass shootings? Are you talking about, explosives? What are you talking about here? They don't tell you that, right? Which basically segues for the president or whoever's in power at the time to invoke a national emergency, meaning would that trigger martial law, which FEMA, according to them, is not responsible for, okay? But why are they involved in terrorism incidents, right? Or other man-made disasters, all right? And pause here for a minute. Cheshire Cat, I know, is from there, all right? And states, FEMA didn't do shit to help people in North Carolina during the flood. In the past, they have after hurricanes, but not recently. There you go. Okay. I'm just saying, right? This is not tinfoil. This is real deal. They're here in the chat stating this. So additionally, there are legislative enhancements over time that have expanded or clarified FEMA's role. There you go. All right. That is the boogeyman right there. Additionally, more enhancements. You're going to love this shit. All right. So the Post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act, or PKEMRA, in 2006, reaffirmed FEMA's mission after major failures in disaster response during Hurricane Katrina. It strengthened FEMA's authorities, clarified roles, and granted it certain reformed responsibilities under the new structure, especially because FEMA was by then part of the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS. Okay. So over time, laws such as Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 and the Disaster Recovery Reform Act of 2018 have expanded FEMA's emphasis on mitigation, preparedness, resilience, and recovery beyond just responding after disaster. Okay. So what FEMA does not have, and what is often misunderstood because FEMA's powers have clear legal limits. Many common misconceptions about FEMA authority are incorrect. Okay. This is where they come back towards Bill Cooper and on what I just read to you, right? So FEMA cannot unilaterally take over, in quotation marks, take over states or deploy itself without a governor's request or without a presidential declaration under the Stafford Act. The law is based on cooperation, meaning local, state, federal. Okay. FEMA does not inherently have law enforcement or martial law type powers. Its mandate is disaster response, mitigation, and recovery, not policing or indefinite detention. No statutory authority grants it general domestic law enforcement jurisdiction. So if that's true, what I just read, where does terrorism fit into this into this narrative that I'm reading here? So if they're not connected to law enforcement or policing or anything like that, what are they going to do with an act of terrorism? Are they going to go in there and tell Haji, who just blew up his vest, "Hey, do you need any help? Can I get you some halal sausages?" Come on, really? There you go. That's the first something's wrong here or red flag, right? Okay, so eminent domain style property seizure or taking over private property is not part of FEMA's standard powers. Part of FEMA's mission centers on assistance, rebuilding, mitigation, not property seizure. FEMA cannot permanently replace state, local governments. Its role is supplemental. Federal assistance is triggered only when local state capacities are overwhelmed and only for the duration of response/recovery, right? So now let's dive into evolution over time. Okay, this is one that I found out to be really, really interesting. Okay, so the key milestones and changes, we're going to go from period to year, what changed and what was added to FEMA's powers and mission. So let's start with 1979. FEMA established via Executive Orders 12127 and 12148, consolidated many dispersed disaster/civil defense functions into one agency. 1988 to 1989, the Stafford Act amended the 1974 law to create the modern framework for federal disaster assistance, disaster declarations, federal aid, coordination role, etc. That's FEMA EMU1. So now we go to from the 1990s to the 2000s. All right, so it's continued development of FEMA's role. Hazard mitigation and preparedness gained more emphasis. Efforts to professionalize and coordinate with states and local governments. In 2003, FEMA became part of DHS under Homeland Security Act of 2002, shifting from an independent agency to part of a larger cabinet-level department. 2006, after critics of the response to the response of Hurricane Katrina, Post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act redefined and reinforced FEMA's mission, clarified authorities, and aimed to make FEMA more effective within DHS. Okay, you can source that in congress.gov. This was a lot of research, folks. So here we go. Homeland Security +2. This is 2010s to present. This is 2010 to present time. Additional laws like the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 and Sandy Recovery Improvement Act of 2013. That would be Sandy Hook. Oh boy. Yeah. That was in 2013, and Disaster Recovery Reform Act of 2018 expanded FEMA's mitigation, resilience, recovery, and support capabilities. FEMA now emphasizes preparedness and hazard mitigation, not just reactive disaster response. So the summary here is basically this: what FEMA is and what it's not, right? FEMA is the U.S. federal government's lead agency for disaster preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation. Its powers come from federal law and are intended to supplement, not replace, local and state emergency functions. FEMA can coordinate federal assistance, provide funding and resources, lead response efforts, and help rebuild infrastructure and communities. It cannot unilaterally enact martial law. You heard it there, right? It cannot unilaterally enact martial law, seize property as a matter of course, or override state sovereignty in normal circumstances. In normal circumstances. Again, what if it's an unnormal circumstance? Act of terrorism, right? Can they override state sovereignty? It's a question. I'm telling you, you guys come up with your own conclusions. I'm just reading and making a contrast from what Bill Cooper stated in his book versus what the actual law is, right? So FEMA's role has expanded over time from reactive disaster relief to proactive mitigation, resilience, and long-term recovery support. Okay? Questions. I'm going to take some before I continue on to basically the next part, which is going to be SB 2334 as of 1990. All right, so I'll give you guys a few minutes to gather your wits there, if you will, before we go on to the next one. Go ahead and get that one ready here, right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and digress over to the chat. And this part here is really going to freaking blow your mind. But anyway, that's just the way it goes. All right. Sam Spencer. FEMA is part of the government, so of course they are part of the problem. Okay, yeah. Cheshire Cat There is Zionist infiltration everywhere. That was a response to Sam. So Sam says here, as we know, people will create problems to they can feel useful. Yeah. Remember, government, we create the problem, then we provide you with the solution, right? And they refuse to solve problems, so they will have job security. Roger 7 Ranger in the house. Welcome, brother. Thank you for being here. And he states here, they don't have the minds, no fear, training, work with others, etc. Logistics, basically. Skip FEMA and go to Minutemen in the regions or states. Oh, man, this guy kills me. Yeah, seriously, here's your cancer. Oh, man. J.J. Johnson, gotta love those FEMA berry quinotes will get some use. Oh, man, I love this audience. Awesome. All right. Yeah, we're going to get hot and heavy tonight, folks. All right, so this is now some key unclassified stuff I dug up, provisions in the bill text, all right? So here are many provisions that are public, i.e. not part of the classified schedule, right? Oh, boy. So section entitled, what it does, Title 1, Intelligence Activities. Does that mean snooping? I don't know. Maybe. So this authorizes appropriations for fiscal year 1991, quote, for the conduct of intelligence and intelligence-related activities of U.S. agencies, including the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, Department of Defense, DoD, National Security Agency, NSA, Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, and others, State, Energy, Treasury, DEA, FBI, military services, etc. So all of the above, the full might of our government, right? Intelligence Resource Program, right? So Section 102, Classified Schedule of Authorizations, states that the actual amounts authorized in personal ceilings are those in a classified schedule, which is part of the Act and was distributed to Congress and the presidents. Intelligence Resource, Section 103, Personal Ceiling Adjustment gives the Director of Central Intelligence, authority to exceed authorized civilian personnel ceilings by up to 2% or a given agency, if needed for important intelligence functions. Requires prompt notification to congressional intelligence committees if used. So intelligence resources, right? The program. Title 2, Intelligence Community Staff. The ICS authorizes appropriations, unclassified amount, for the intelligence community or staff for fiscal year 1991. Get these numbers, folks, right? $28,900,000, of which $6,580,000 is earmarked for the Security Evaluation Office of CIA. Intelligence Resource Program, personal ceiling for ICS. ICS authorized for 240 full-time staff as of September 30th, 1991, including 50 dedicated to the Security Evaluation Office of Intelligence Resources Programs. Administration of ICS and ICS staff operate under the same legal framework as CIA, subject to the same laws. Intelligence Resource Program Title III, CIA Retirement and Disability Systems, or CIARDS, is the acronym there, authorizes $164,600,000 for fiscal year 1991. I wonder what that amount is today. All right, so to fund CIA's retirement and disability system. Are you following me here so far? FEMA. Okay, this funding is to fund the retirement and disability system for the CIA. Intelligence Resource Program 1, amendments to retirement law, removes 15-year career review requirement for certain CIA employees eligible under CIARDS or special federal retirement categories, makes election of CIARDS participation irrevocable for the duration of CIA service. Right? This is congress.gov. All right, so now spouse and survivor benefit provisions modifies rules for former spouse eligibility, remarriage, survivor annuities, and benefit elections for CIA retirees, including the spouses married after retirement. Talk about a Cadillac plan. Holy shit. Congress.gov, okay, so now Title V DoD Foreign Intelligence Enhancements and related legal authorities authorizes certain DoD commercial activities to support intelligence collection abroad, allows use of proceeds with oversight, audit, and legal constraints. That's also from Congress.gov. All right, so now amendments to NSA Act. All right, so we're going over all of the agencies here. And other intelligence agencies' authority laws enables NSA to provide employment or medical/psychological support to former NSA employees post-employment, right, for up to 5 years. All right, this is post-employment for up to 5 years, when necessary to prevent unlawful disclosure of classified info with required reporting. So I'm assuming they're going to have to sign NDAs and all that stuff. So when they get out of service, they keep their pie holes shut. Okay. So what remains classified, in other words, not public, right? Here we go. The schedule of authorizations, the detailed dollar amounts per agency, per project, per ceilings, per agency, as per the law. That schedule was submitted to Congress and the president, not publicly published. That comes from Intelligence Resource Program 2, Congress.gov. Okay. So now, any annexes or annex reports that accompany the schedule, often containing more detail about specific programs, these remain classified. Couldn't find this shit anywhere, right? So, as noted in the floor debate for the replacement measure after Senate Bill 2834 was pocket vetoed, the classified schedule and its annexes are kept in committee offices and only accessible to certain authorized members. In other words, if you're not in the club, you can't see it. That's Intelligence Resource Program. I'm going to go to the chat here real quick. Hopefully I don't miss anybody. JJ Johnson, gotta love that. Gotta love those FEMA Berry. Okay, we got that. Roger 7. Isn't our way to pay use instead of suits screwing shit up. Laws, nothing when there is not accountability. Yep, absolutely correct. Right? So again, I hope you guys are connecting the dots here. In my opinion, I think Bill Cooper did a lot of shit right. and we're discovering it here because they change the language and give you a different narrative. And there we go. Right? Sam says there should never be secrets withheld from the American people. If they can keep secrets, everything will be a secret. Oh, okay. Again, draw your own conclusions, right? So, where to access the public records? You can directly access the unclassified bill text and conference report here. And this is found the official bill page for SB 2834 on congress.gov. Use the text and all info tabs to view unclassified sections. You're not going to get the rest. The conference report on SB 2834 from the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, okay, and you can find this at House Report 101-928 from October 23rd, 1990. The committee's website still hosts a PDF of the report. Senate and Select Committee on Intelligence. The public domain restatement of the bill with unclassified sections via the Federation of American Scientists, or FAS, website. Right? You guys can go there. I'm telling you, this was a lot of research, man. It had to be done. Example, the 1990 compilation of Intelligence Authorization Act, text accessible online, Intelligence Resource Program +1. Now, here is the historical outcome. Why SB 2834, as enacted, looks slightly different because George H.W. Bush pocket vetoed SB 2834 on November 30th, 1990. It never became law in the form the Senate passed. Shortly afterward, Congress passed a very similar bill, which is now H.R., not S.B., H.R. 1455, which became the fiscal year 1991 Intelligence Authorization Act. under Public Law or PL 102-88 on August 14th, 1991, right? That version of the law largely mirrored the provisions of SB 2834, though with some edits, Intelligence Resource Program 2, with some edits. In other words, this is where everything got tweaked. This is where the language changed. This is where certain words and phrases were put in there to separate from what Bill found in the original one. Okay. But okay, he's nuts or was nuts or whatever, but you guys get the drift where I'm going to here. Okay. Now, because of that, many of the public domain text versions you find online reflect HR 1455, public law version, rather than the original conference report for SB 2834. There you go. What this means for researchers / public access. If you want the legal framework, authorizations, rules for retirement, personnel ceilings, oversight, permissible agency actions, that is public and accessible as above. But it's not the original. Okay. If you want actual funding amounts per agency, personnel numbers, program by program allocations, those remain classified, of course, or were classified at the time. So the public bill or copy does not show them. Now, for scholarly or investigative research, which I fit into, let's see here. Oh, I think Ghost is here. Hold on, folks. Hold on. Stand by. Ghost, you there?
Boo.
Oh, my goodness. He said boo. Ladies and gentlemen, the ghoster is in the house. Wait.
Did I hear you saying Senate and intelligence? What a contradiction in terms. And scientists and intelligence.
The studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all day. Because that's how I feel tonight. All right.
Go some good stuff while I was hanging out there in the green room.
In the green room, listening to some good stuff?
Yeah.
Congress
and intelligence.
Oh, that's an oxymoron.
So it's central intelligence. But we'll leave that for another day.
We're going to have some fun today, folks.
Even Clancy said that in the one captain of the USS Dallas said Central Intelligence Agency. Oh, there's a contradiction in terms.
Yes, absolutely. Cheshire Cat, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. JFK.
Yeah, it should be, but it's not. It won't be. And we're just going to get played and played and played until the day is gone.
That's right. All right, so let me read you.
I don't want to be a downer. So keep going.
A downer? No, brother, you can't be a downer after what I saw on TV last night from Dad.
Oh, anyway, yeah, the economics.
We're going to cover that and a lot more. And Armando the Cuban may come out at me, so I apologize in advance because I'm fucking mad. But anyway, I'll just leave it at that. So basically, to read you up here, bro, I read some excerpts out of Bill Cooper's book, Pale White Horse, talking about FEMA. What he uncovered, he discovered way back in the day, and how things got twisted with Senate bills and, House resolutions and stuff like that. And they now put this out there in the public and did some research on this stuff. And we're already starting to find some red flags, some things that don't match up, some things that got flopped around, and things were changed and edited, for the sheeple. Which would be
you want a little secret. A little secret is everything is now under UN and has been. And they're trying to slowly but surely bring that out to the public. Everything is under the United Nations. Why? Because it's all corporate. It's all owned. What we've been trying to tell you for years is all corporate. It is all ownership. Yes. And until you pull yourself out of that, you're going to be a party to that, willing or unwilling. knowing or unknowing. It is all a UN game at this point. And the only thing I said to a friend of mine and I that were discussing that the other day was I'd like to see that building topple over by itself
Yeah.
into the East River. But
Where are the
it,
pawns? Where are
it
the
all
pawns on the
depends.
chessboard?
Yeah, in the end, you get to decide. You really do, because you still have uh, you still have freedom of speech, and you still have the Second Amendment. That's not been taken from you legally. Well,
Wait,
legally,
well,
forget it's nonsense. Lawfully, it hasn't been taken from you yet.
yet.
They're
And
too afraid, and the only reason for that is fear.
correct.
Fear of those who would have to take them from you. So if we let what happened to Australia and to Europe happen to us, we're fucked. That's all there is to it. That's the reality of it all. We can dance around with all this stuff. Oh, is so and so going to stay ahead of this, or is so and so? No, Dan Bongino, he's leaving on the second week of January.
Yep. Pay
Okay,
period.
he's gone,
Pay period 1 for January. Correct.
and so that's a given. Why? He can't take the bullshit anymore. He's seeing the bullshit for what it is. And that agency that he's working with has been topped by a bunch of globalist, lackey, compromised pieces of shit. And that's the bottom line. Not your average field agent that comes to the house and is told to get a reading on you. No, not them. It's the hierarchy. And less than 5% can be even trusted in the whole organization. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You have the final say, people. You do, you really do, and that's what it comes down to.
And let's not overlook the fact, and I was going to save this piece, but I'm just going to spurt it out here for the second segment. Currently, right now, the FBI are the canines, like the canines in a dog's mouth, all right? The big teeth, okay? The other agencies, they just fall in the back, and they're there, they're doing whatever it is that they do, and that's fine. But the FBI right now, here's the problem, and I got a lot of wind today because I'm telling you, I my head was on fire today. I was going to call you earlier, and I said, no, I know you got stuff going on, so it's like, no, we'll save this for the
It's
broadcast.
been a busy day, and I've got maybe an hour and a half, and I'll give you everything I got.
Okay, sweet. We'll do that in the second segment. The deal is this, all right? And this is fact. This is fact. I'm just going to drop this real quick and I'll continue with this with the FEMA deal here, all right? What we currently have right now, and you correct me if I'm wrong here. Again, my alleged opinion, because we're over on YouTube as well, live right now, which is first time I do this.
Oh,
Um,
too
yeah. So
wonderful.
basically, your middle management, not upper, not lower, middle management, which the movers and the shakers, they raised their right hand under who? Under who? Under Ray in the previous administration, and they never left. They're still there. These are the ones that forward information. These are the ones that are bringing you the stuff, what needs to be, what they find, what they push. And yes, they kiss the leadership's ass, smile, shake hands. You're my pal, pat them on the back, and they're feeding you nothing but bullshit because they're from the old administration. They're still there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're all still there. So
Still
yes,
getting
they
their
got rotten. They got,
they're still getting their weekly bowl of grub,
yeah,
so their tax
they're,
dollars will stay.
they're the rotten apples, right? So the question here is, why haven't they gotten rid of them? Why are they still there? Because in my opinion, and you and I said this on this broadcast during the campaign of the Trump administration, and we said it, he needs to clean freaking house. He needs to start with the custodian or the janitor all the way to the very top. Get rid of them all, whether they were good or not. If you worked under the previous administration, I don't care how qualified you are, how knowledgeable you are, don't care. You're gone. You're fired. Get the fuck out, right? And
Qualified.
start putting people in there after you vet them that you deem loyal to your new administration. That never took place. That never happened. I'm going to leave it right there because I don't want to give the cat or let the cat out of the bag, right? So we'll
I
save
think,
that for later.
well, look at the address last night. It was all economics. And economics is the basis of it all. That's the most important thing. Whether you have enough to eat, whether you have enough to pay for gasoline, whether you have enough to pay your monthly bills and support your family. But and that is important. That is the most important thing. And they're trying to sure that up. But again, it's been laden with bureaucratic sedition.
Right.
If you slow up a piece of paper one day, if you don't do your job as you're supposed to, or if you do your job with a political leaning towards something other than your job, you're guilty of bureaucratic sedition. I mean, it's laden with that.
Yep.
It's full of that.
But the problem that I had
Um,
goes with his speech last night, right? And all the pundits out there, right? All of the pundits out there, especially X, who has now become, in my opinion, the cesspool of the internet with misinformation, with propaganda, with bullshit. And you got to siphon through that very, very carefully if you actually want to get a true story. And depending on who's breaking whatever they're breaking on X, is this. Okay. Everybody was saying he's going to talk about Venezuela. He's going to declare a war act on Venezuela. Venezuela is going to be the next war. Well, what happens historically here in this country, and I don't care who's in office, when you're getting close to the midterms, okay, you need a situation, something easy, right? Right? So, an easy conflict that you can easily win. Well, there's Venezuela. Why? Well, the midterms are right around the corner. Every administration in history on either side has always pulled that rabbit out of the hat. And here we go.
yeah,
Okay,
but
here we are.
look what also happened on the flip side. All the propagandist owned, corporate owned globalist media was waiting for that announcement and they didn't get it. So they got to fumble again, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So everything works both ways. And for that reason, it worked well because you had people like people saying, oh, Tucker Carlson was saying, talking to his sources, that he was going to talk about war in Venezuela. None of that came up. None of that came up.
None of
I
that.
can guarantee there's going to be targeted strikes. Oh yeah, that's going to come.
And who was
Targeted.
responsible for that? Because Cat came out of the bag. Okay, I'm sorry, folks, and I don't mean to get long and dive here, but this was infuriating. That was a 20-minute speech. It was read off a teleprompter. He stumbled, he bumbled reading off a teleprompter because, Trump does not do teleprompters. He likes to go off the cuff, okay? But it was a broken record being replayed again. Look at what I've done. Look at what we've had. Look at this. Look at that. We're making strides. Okay, great. Fantastic. All right. Close the border. Beautiful. Love it. Okay. The economy's doing great. No, it's not. Inflation's going down. No, it's not. Okay. There was a lot of stuff. But here, who gave him that speech? Susie Wiles. How much time did he have when he finished? Hey, was I on cue? And says, yep, I gave you 20 minutes and you were right on the 20-minute mark. He rushed right through it. Told the American people the same thing he's been doing at his rallies, what he said from his press conferences. When they're not press conferences and he's on an open mic, on Air Force One or on the tarmac or something like that, it's always the same thing. Eggs are down, which they are. Groceries are coming down. Gas is coming down. It's cheap, it's cheap, it's cheap, it's cheap. But he is not telling the people what the people want, which he campaigned on, which is what? Right? Crooked Hillary, right? Lock her up, lock her up, lock her up, right? This is what the people went on. And this is what the people want. They want accountability. They want results. They want results for the COVID fiasco. They want Fauci in jail. They want, they want all these fuckers locked up. He's not delivering on any of that. None of it. That's a problem. It is a big problem. Okay, you got Bondi preaching this, indictment, this and that, Bolton, this, 14, 18, 100 counts, whatever the hell it may be. Okay, when are they going to be in the orange suits, in handcuffs, going away to the gallows or behind bars or Gitmo? That's what the American people want. They want accountability because that's what he ran on, has not delivered it. Well, I'm sorry.
You can do that in the economy at the same time.
Of course, yeah, you have to. And okay, great, but we've heard that story.
Well, what the hell is your DOJ doing? Nothing.
Well, okay, great.
Looking for people who are saying things like you and I are saying right now, and people in public forums saying what you and I are saying. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. The targets.
And this shit needs to end.
The targets.
Otherwise, 2029, 2030 is coming up. I don't care about 2026 and 28. 29 and 30 are coming up. What the hell are you going to do this time around? Well, who's the placeholder? Ask yourselves that question.
I'm going to tell you this.
It's either got to get very mean and very nasty very fast, or nothing's happening. If nothing happens by the first 60 to 90 days of the year, you're not getting anything, and you got to seriously question where the hell this has all been going. And all of us do. And all of us were played, if that's the case. Played. And this is what the fuck. This is what the fuck they do.
We've been played and we've been conned. That's the only way I can see it. And here's where I'm going with this.
Did you see that film Five Fingers I told you to watch?
No, I didn't. Excuse me. I didn't have a chance to see it, but I did read up on it. I will see it.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell the audience, watch the film Five Fingers, and you'll see what a basic play is, let alone a high level play is. And I'm not black pilling. I'm psychedelic pilling. I'm opening your mind to the fact that all of this is just a con.
It's a lie.
Well, years ago, one of the first things I ever said when I started talking publicly is everything you think you know is a lie. Oh, no. No, everything you think you know is a lie. Everything. Everything.
I don't care what this woman did, but you're talking about a lobbyist who is basically telling the president of the United States what to do. The 20-minute speech last night. It's a repeat of a broken record the American people have been listening to ever since the campaign was going on until he went in office. That's great. We already know that.
You'll know if things change if that woman still remains.
But the point is, look, who did she bring in from Florida? Bondi, Rubio. Rumors are Ratcliffe also as well, right? I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever. And she is a lobbyist. And he's giving the stuff away. He has to be careful on how he chooses his words, right? Just like during the press conference. Well, I guess I'm going to go campaigning now. I was told I'm going campaigning. No, you're POTUS, man. You know what you're up against.
What the fuck you're doing.
You're fighting a socialist Islamic revolution, a color revolution. General Flynn even warned him of this on his last broadcast that I saw. People are telling him, okay, Bondi, I'm telling you right now, Bondi is being handled. Bondi is not sealing the deal. There's no arrest. There's no handcuffs. No one's going to jail. Damn, they can't even find the freaking Brown University freaking shooter.
All the evidence is out there for everything. For everything that's happened.
And now you got Cash Patel riding the FBI jet all around the country with his girlfriend talking about, romances. What, are you fucking kidding me? You're
Yeah.
actually out there doing this shit? What does that tell you? A, they're being fed a line of bullshit. They got bad intel, which we already know that. Okay. If you want to cut the head off the snake of socialism or communism, you got to go full on the offensive, because here's what I know.
Yes, you do.
Okay. The sand in the hourglass is running out of grains of sand quickly. Okay. And now when the campaign season comes along for the midterms, that's going to take more time from his schedule. The man doesn't sleep. He does not sleep at all. He's already been caught falling asleep during press conferences. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The executive order he signed this
Who the hell
afternoon
wouldn't?
for
Just
declassifying
kidding.
for reclassifying marijuana, he dozed off a couple of times on national TV. I caught him. I was looking at the time.
After he was the one who opened it up for hemp products.
Yeah, it's now been reclassified. Okay, great, for medical science, cancer research, and all that
Well,
stuff. That's
no,
awesome.
that's called the reality of that is the battle with the power of the global pharmaceutical bloc.
Yes,
All right, this is why we had shortages in this country of certain medications, and why people were suffering, including myself, suffering because of it. Because the pharmaceutical companies pulled back. They said, and their excuse was, "Oh, we're not getting the raw materials from China." Well, why the fuck are we getting raw materials from China to begin with? Why aren't we producing our own? Why aren't we employing Americans to produce raw pharmaceutical materials, to produce the more complex pharmaceuticals?
because
Certain ones, yes, are manufactured in this country. A
the
lot of
money
them are.
people, the bankers, the money people, the shakers and the movers are his stumbling block. They're in the way.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, you can get a prescription of Xanax in Europe for basically a 1 month supply for $5 or $6. Where here you pay $127. Ask yourself why.
yeah. Well, you got to pay the piper.
And oil. Look, there's as much oil. There's more oil now because of technological increases in the ability to tap into oil resources than there ever was in the 70s. Oil should always be, gasoline should always be at 99 cents a gallon. But no, you got to base your petrodollar on it because the rest of the world's walking away from it.
Yep.
What are you going to do with bricks? You can't fight bricks with petrodollar. That's the bottom line. You can't do it. So there has to be a breakdown somewhere where you're going to go to some. You finally refined by playing the fools and the greed of the idiots out there who bought into and some of them made fortunes off of their cryptocurrencies. But your cryptocurrency is a concept. It's an idea. Just like a dollar printed is an idea. Doesn't represent shit. It never has. In your lifetime or the lifetime of your great grandparents to great great grandparents, doesn't mean anything. It's been an agreed to concept of exchange for your life, the hours of your life doing something, whether it be a physician or a ditch digger, it doesn't matter. You're exchanging those hours of your life for something agreed to that is valueless. The only thing on this planet that has value is you.
And they know that.
I just dropped you another golden key. How many will ever find the path to that key? It's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to tell you that because I spent decades finding it and found it.
Yep.
Now,
Here's the other thing too.
and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Trust
But
me. But here's my point.
What did you say yesterday? The most powerful thing to possess
is knowledge.
Is knowledge. Knowledge of how all of this dog and pony show is run on this planet, and why it's run this way on this planet. It's run, number one, so you don't kill each other. Number two, it's run so you don't figure it out. But number three, it's run to advance you, but no one's taking it to advancement at this point. You know, Elon Musk, it's, oh, let's go to Mars. Yeah, you're using chemical rockets. Give me a fucking break. You got element 115. You got proton guns. You've got the ability to produce and tap into endless energy. That one little room, the size of a bedroom, could power an entire city the size of New York. But you don't do it. They don't do it. Can't put a meter on it.
Can't put a meter on it. If you can't put a meter on it,
can't really put a meter on it if it can be individualized to each household and each vehicle and each item. And that's honestly the way it should be. And we should live in a meritocracy where if you don't learn, you don't advance. Be happy in your work. Be happy in your work. Remember Bridge on the River Kwai?
Sure.
Why did the British officer decide if they want us to build a bridge of slaves, we're going to build the best fucking bridge they ever saw. We're going to build on timbers that would outlast that of what hold up London Bridge. We're going to build timbers that are going to last 500 years, and they're going to use this bridge for the next 300 years, made out of fucking wood. No, but the whole idea was lost in the end, wasn't it?
Yep.
Because they blew it up. This is, in other words, we're coming to a precipice in humanity, and we're finally saying it out loud, where people have to decide, what do you want?
Mm-hmm. What do you want is the question of the day.
Do you want wealth and acquisition and selfishness and power? Wrong answer. Do you want socialism, communism, and I don't have to do anything to be equal to somebody who's smarter than me or no, wrong answer. Do you want open capitalism wide open and let the free market? No, that never works. That always gets corrupted. Wrong answer. Every answer that you can think of that history has evolved to is false and wrong. There's a whole new answer out there waiting for you, and you have to find it. And if you ask me to tell you how, then you're not ready for it. So accept the turmoil, accept the management, accept the human capital management game you're involved in, you're a part of. Accept it.
And here's the reality. This is nothing new. This system has been around for what? Well over 500 years. When this country
the current form. Yeah. Before this country was ever a thing.
Before this country was ever a thing, it existed already. So I don't care if we get away from fiat and we go to crypto. Okay? If the piranhas that are currently running this shit show are still in charge of it, and trust me, they're making that move, how do I know? I'll tell you. All the banks are insolvent. All of them are insolvent. So how do we get out?
They always have been by nature. They have to. Every nation is insolvent. We're operating under UCC, which is the International Code of Bankruptcy.
Yep.
Every country is borrowing.
So if
in one form or another.
If the banks are insolvent, how do they get out of it? Well, they're already making the moves. Some firms on Wall Street are hoarding gold. They're buying gold. Why? Well, they're backing crypto, i.e. XRP, okay? And some other ones, Solana and, whatever else is out there.
Gold will go to 40,000 an ounce plus, and silver will go to 10, 15,000, 16,000 an ounce plus.
because that's
especially
coming.
with new developments.
So that's
All
coming,
of
and
that
that's
is
going to
coming.
happen. And once these banks get on board with the quantum system and fiat is gone and they're on crypto, well, guess what? They just took care of the insolvency problem, right?
Well, now
And
you're on human predictive behavioral programs with quantum added to it, which has been in use by a certain central bank of all central banks since the late 90s. Make no mistake, future proofs past means this. What you're experiencing now and what you're being told about now already has been done. You just haven't been told about it. So to you, it's the future. And the past means nothing because it's gone. So it'll prove what you believed what was going to happen because the future doesn't exist. The future is in the moment. Right now, mark time. Okay, now we're in the future. Okay,
yeah,
mark time. Now we're in the future. Mark time. Now we're in the future. There is no future. The future is not predetermined. It's not told to you in a book. The Bible doesn't tell you what's going to happen. I'm sorry. Get over it. Get over it. And those that created Mohammedanism for these idiots that buy into this because they had to find a system. You've got to understand you're dealing with brilliant minds that had access to information from thousands of years prior. So they said, wait a minute, these ridiculous people in the Middle East whose minds are the smartest, but yet the most devious, yet the most, let's say, not so nice minds that had to dominate this region of the world had a very harsh environment to deal with. So we're going to have to come up with something that we can control them with. So as of 7 and 800 AD, you had your prophet, your so-called prophet, but like that one Dutch guy who got his head cut off.
mhm. The problem is this, man. While we and
He was
here's the other,
calling in just then.
yeah,
So make no mistake about it. What you put all the goodness of your human soul that is channeled into the idea of Islam. It's no different than everything that was channeled into Christianity prior to that, and that was because those stories were retold from thousands and thousands of years ago. Only you weren't told about it. All right. I'm
the deal is
sorry.
the deal. No,
It's
no,
all
no.
been a while.
The deal is this. All right. This is what I see. I think we lose the House in the midterms, and we may go ahead and keep the Senate. If we do that, we got a lame duck presidency, more or less. Okay. Here's what I do know. If the boss does not pivot and come on with an offensive posture and start delivering accountability for everything, the stolen election, COVID, the
All
indict,
of it.
all that,
By
all of it,
sticking the guns in the faces and using the power that you have.
and all
And
that,
so what? Let the people cry and bitch and moan.
right?
That's what
Even
they
though,
always do.
and if the banks get out of their insolvency with crypto, which XRP is basically storming the globe now, and it is going to be the number one coin to go to. Now the banks are no longer insolvent, right? So what happens? Well, hey, you want a car loan? Yeah, with crypto. Hey, you want a mortgage for your house? Yeah, hey, crypto, no problem. Yeah, we'll take care of it. But guess what? The fraud continues. The thievery continues. It's the same racket using a different currency until you cut the head off the fucking snake. And the only way to do that, you're going to have to pick up arms and you're going to have to go to battle. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not preaching violence here, but it's going to have to come to that. Every nation, even the one I was born in, okay, the problem is that my people back in the day didn't have the fucking cojones, all right, to actually stand up when they had the chance to do it because they loved their skin too much, okay, and didn't do anything about it, and we lost it and have never gotten it back.
And
No country
what
ever
was
has.
the history of Cuban Revolution before that? The weakest empire always becomes the one that the other up and coming empires feed on.
Exactly.
The Spanish Empire was the weakest at the time, so the British, the French, the German, the Russian, and the American Empire fed on that. How did we feed on that? We fed on that with the Spanish American War. Not only did we get Puerto Rico, Guam, Philippines, and several other territories in the Pacific from it, but we started to gain our footing as an empire. Well, the days of even the centuries of empire building are over, and nobody wants to admit to that. To say that, oh, is that un-American to say that? No, that's realistic to say that. That's the future. So the future is nobody knows. If it really comes down to it. If it doesn't come down to it, it comes down to what you're saying. Same old process of CETQV, but CETA being the main word of that, as of life or of life. Okay. What do you choose? Do you go with the same ones in the shadows who've been choosing it for you for thousands and thousands of years? Or do you break away from that also and say, okay, fuck all this?
Here's and I'm
Let's bring it all to the surface and let's decide. Yes, we're going to have a mess for a while, but
there.
what are we really going to? What do we really want for the future? Do we want? Do we want? Oh, you think you deserve it because you're alive, or do you want it because you've a meritocracy? The improvement of the self is the future. I'm telling you that right now. It's the improvement of the self from childhood to death, a constant improvement of the self. That is the future. That's where the best ideas are going to come from because there became a plateau with the Industrial Revolution, with Great Britain leading that at one point, and then they reached the plateau, and everyone else caught up. And then when it came to the next plateau, it was nuclear. And the United States, because of our vantage point coming out of World War II, we took nuclear to the next level. That brought everything else to the next level. And then the integrated circuit and the the silicone chip, basically, because of Apollo program and the space program and all of that, that became the next plateau. And now we're seeing the next plateau where if we're not careful, these machines will be used to rule over you in the same way that secrecy and secret knowledge was used to rule over you. It's as simple as that. It's not a complicated formula.
And that would be AI you speak of.
AI and current quantum systems that actually reach into alternate dimensions for information and come up with answers before they're even asked, to be honest with you. And I don't want to go into I'm not going to go into any detail further than that. I don't want to get my head blown off. Because until we get past all of that nonsense of thinking that we're going to guard that secrecy, it's time for all of it to simply be put on the table, and humanity has to decide. And they're going to argue and they're going to bitch and they're going to moan, but that's the way it works.
You wait till
And
digital ID kicks in. That's coming too. And I'm telling you, between that AI and what I
oh
see
yeah,
coming,
and all their little fun toys and their little ways of human capital management. But until you decide to end the human capital management concept, and stop basing capital on humans and basing capital on concepts and ideas and growth and going into the stars, there's never going to be any end to this stupidity on this planet. And it will remain contained as it is.
So I'll give you my prediction on what I see based on what I've been hearing and what I've been uncovering here lately. Okay. Here's the deal. The left, the Democrats. Yeah, they may argue and fight in between each other, but when it comes time for them to circle the wagons and go on the offensive, they get together, they team up, and they come at you viciously. Okay. Here's what I know from what I've seen, because for me, it's a repeat of history given my background. We are in a current state right now where, as Legault said, the future is now, Mark, okay? If Trump does not pivot quickly, okay, get rid of the immediate garbage around him, Susie Wiles, middle management FBI, especially them above all the other agencies, okay, because they're your first go-to. Start fucking deporting more of these illegal bastards, because that's come to a snail's crawl.
Stop relying on an attorney just because you knew him since you were 15 years old, and find the real brilliant minds out there in law.
Because guess what? Especially out in Los Angeles, their holding facilities, okay, they're fucking empty. They're empty. There's nobody in them. Until you start deporting these people, deporting these terrorists, getting rid of the Islamic problem that we have forcefully, or by any means, by hook or by crook, this is not gonna go away. It's not.
The preeminent ground force insurgency methods will be turned against us.
Yes, correct. Okay, so where am I going to with this?
You can't allow that to happen.
If we do, here's the other thing too. Trump's freaking 80 years old, man. Okay, they're bogging him down with so much, campaigning, we have to do this, we have to do that, sign this EO, sign that O. How many MAGA senators do you think we actually have currently right now? How many? Anybody in the chat? Do you know?
Not enough, because I've seen too many go by the wayside, too many not endorsed and lost, too many, and they're out there and they can hear this. They didn't make it.
I'll tell you.
The good ones didn't make it.
One. There's only one.
Because you had the RNC standing in the way in every state. I saw it up close and personal. In every state. And none of it.
Okay. They
didn't want them.
No. There's only one. That's it. The other ones have retired in the first administration or his first term. Most of them are gone. They're retired. Look, say whatever you want, whether you like her or not. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's my representative, District 97.
They got enough to get their retirement and they left.
Here where I am, okay? They kept stifling her, blocking her from doing whatever. It took her 3 years to try to get a bill across. Okay, a bill. FBI, let me go there here with this. Okay, and let me paint this scenario for you, Ghost, okay? Let's just say that you're an FBI, you're boots on the ground, you're given a mission, you find intel on whatever that mission entails, you have hardcore proof, hardcore evidence to circumvent whatever threat there may be, or future threat, or whatever. Where do you take that information to?
You take it to the next layer up, and guess what? They're not doing a fucking thing with any of it.
Okay, what is the next layer up, specifically? What branch?
The chain of command.
Okay, you know where all the majority of the shit is going to? To the Senate. What does the Senate do with it? Nothing. They sit on it.
Nothing.
Not a fucking thing. And that's where the problem is. This is where Trump's enemy is. Okay. So I hope he hears me. And Why should he? I mean, I'm fucking lower than Pond Scump here on my fucking channel. But anyway, if he does not go on the offensive and take charge instead of being handled by Susie Wiles and all her fucking bullshit, okay, the freaking lobbyist, if you will, and he doesn't start
Yeah,
taking charge
it's
like
not
he
just
did in
there's
the beginning
others.
in the beginning of 2016, along with the others. Okay, this is a death spiral. I see us losing the House in the midterms. I see us losing the election in 28, and you know what's going to happen? If it goes back the other way, these motherfuckers that we had here under Biden and their entire cohorts, they are going to come at us with everything that they got. Okay, they're going to target me. They're going to target veterans. They're going to target, podcasters, whatever, anybody. Okay, we're going to fucking die. We're going to get deplatformed. They're going to fucking come and kill us all because they're going to end this shit. They're coming after everybody. You'll either be jailed or you will be taken out. You can kiss your guns goodbye. You can kiss your rights goodbye. You can kiss all that shit goodbye and welcome to fucking communism. Okay? I don't see the Somalis leaving Minnesota. I don't see, all these assholes that are here now illegally getting out. Show me something. Like, oh, we deported 1,000 people. We got fucking over 25 million here. Get on the offensive, grow some fucking cojones, and let's get the show on the road already. Because here's my fear. We lose this in 28. No one's coming to save you. You guys have heard that before. You're going to have to pick up fucking arms and you're going to have to defend your fucking homestead because it's going to get real. This is why people like Sarah Adams, Sean Ryan, they're all telling you the same thing. Prepare, and prepare now. The lights will fucking go off. I'm telling you. We're going to start seeing an offensive maneuvers, okay, by the other side starting week 1 of January. That's next fucking month. So with everything that's on the table right now, Trump has to make time for campaigning for the midterms. That's going to take up more of his time on top of the fact that the man doesn't fucking sleep and it's obvious. Plus he's 80 years old. How much more are they going to continue to push this man and nobody's fucking supporting him? You and I,
expected somebody else to do it.
We have to get behind this man and do whatever we can to support this man because there's no one else. And I am telling you, the other side is going to, you think they came at us hard under Biden and under Obama? You haven't seen shit. That's nothing. That's a cakewalk.
They've only gotten more vicious, not smarter, but vicious.
They are going to get vicious, man, and they're going to come at us with everything that they got. So something needs to be done now. Get out there on a megahorn, talk, tell neighbors, tell friends, and put it out there. Call your legislators, call your senators, call your representatives, and tell them, hey, get your head out of your asses and let's get out there, okay, and start showing and producing some freaking results. Because until we cut the head off of that snake, they will own our asses. They really will. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get fucking wired up here, but that's what I see. I've seen this movie before, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen it before. Trust me when I tell you that. And I'm seeing it again. Something needs to be done. The only reason why I'm also talking, I'm going to get back to this FEMA thing here, because it is important, because it fits into what I'm talking about and Ghost is talking about right now. The message behind it, the Easter egg here, okay, is preparedness. You need to prepare. You need to prepare, okay? The megaphones and the megaheads out there. What did we say a couple of streams ago? And we weren't even online. We were on the phone. There's a new boogeyman coming. Fox broke it this afternoon. It's a severe, mega potent influenza now during flu season. They're already talking about another shot. They're already talking about getting it out there. It's coming. There are massive cases. Hospitals are starting to get overrun. They have very low supplies, medical supplies. We told you this shit. Ghost told you this shit. It's going to be something viral. It's going to be something viral. That's their next move, is that they're going to do it again. I'm telling you. This new influenza. It's what H3N, whatever the fuck they coin it. I have it on
Who
my
gives a
phone.
shit?
I have it on my phone. I actually took pictures of it to screen because I saw it. There he goes. New flu strain causing more severe symptoms. You know who the target's going to be? Kids. It's going to be intestinal, stomach related. Okay. New flu strain emerging as severe threat, 89%. Okay. Subclad K variant among influenza, a virus. Okay. And there it is. There it is. The little bubbles with the freaking spike proteins. Okay. The horns. They're going to do this shit again. Bill Gates even said it. And you know when that's supposed to happen? January, right in the middle of flu season. So go out to Walgreens and, CVS and go get your flu shot. Ah!
Yeah, go get your shot.
Oh my
Go
God,
get your
man.
shot to weaken your immune system. Go get your shot.
Anyway,
Never had a flu shot. Had the flu, if you would call it that once. Beat it in 3 days.
I'm just saying. All right.
It's not, the answers aren't out there, and people will flock to it like idiots because that's what they do. They expect mommy and daddy always to handle it. It's in their psychology from birth.
We're screwed,
Because
folks. I'm telling you, we are screwed.
when
We're freaking
governments
screwed.
took the role of traumatizing you, they made you their parent. The violated love their violators. They're afraid of their violators. Look at fucking Adolf Hitler. If you were of anyone of common sense in Germany, and there were many of them, ladies and gentlemen, Germany wasn't. No, Germany was no different than any other country. There were plenty of people who thought this guy's a madman, and things are so bad that we'll just go with it, and it'll pass, and somebody else will replace him, and it'll get back. No, it didn't. It brought them to ruin. And this country is the only thing standing in the way of that globalist fucking agenda. So they have to bring us to ruin. The question is, are we going to ruin it our way and under our control, or are we going to ruin it under no control? Because they got smart about it. They didn't make an individual. They tried to. Certain factions in this country tried to make an individual Trump out like the Hitler. The dumbest thing they could have ever done, because there's nothing about that man that resembles that, other than your stupid childish sentiments, because you want a different mommy and daddy. I don't want a mommy and daddy. My mommy and daddy are gone. I'm my own mommy and daddy. And each of you should be saying that, whether you had parents or not, if you're out living and creating an existence for yourself. You don't need a mommy and daddy. You don't need an authority to tell you how to eat right, how to live right. You don't need that. You need that for the idiots who are too stupid. That's what the penal system is there for, or used to be anyway. It's not that anymore. You
Well,
have something completely different. You have a whole different animal in existence right now. It has nothing to do with justice. It has to do with what's legal. It's legalism. It's not what's lawful or moral. It's what's legal. Legal doesn't mean moral or right or wrong. It means what's acceptable or not acceptable. And that's what you're looking for in a mommy and daddy figure when you look towards an external authority. You are the authority over your existence. And if you conduct yourself correctly, you never need the law. You'll never need any of it unless an accident befalls you, and that's very rare, or someone attacks or does damage to you or your property. And that's what they should be there for. But
Yeah.
people have been trained and traumatized through external events. Those buildings coming down didn't traumatize me. It was, wait a minute, who the hell did that? Because even then I was saying airplanes didn't do that. Get the fuck out of here. Buildings burn all over the world every year, high rises. They don't fall down. No, those buildings were condemned a long time ago because of their steel structure and their the way they twisted and bent in the wind up to a meter at the top in a normal 60-mile-an-hour wind. And it was an insurance scam and also a way to capitalize on that insurance scam by making it the boogeyman, making it terrorists,
Bottom line,
terrorism.
the bottom line
You
is
were
that
scared. You were scared into looking to mommy and daddy, being the, i.e., the government, to protect you. The government doesn't protect you if someone breaks through your door. Where's the government? If someone kicks your door down, there's you and there's your ability to defend yourself. If you're sitting there watching television, you got a 45 in the drawer next to you, you pull it out, you blow their fucking brains out, problem solved. You're the
well,
government. You're the beginning and end of the protection of you and your property.
no one's coming to save you. I'm telling you that. Not even today, not even now. Because remember the
No.
old adage, right? When seconds matter, don't worry, the police are minutes away, right? What
Mm-hmm.
did that tell you? I'm just
Well,
saying, man.
they're never there when you need them. I'm not downing the police. Believe me,
No,
they got
no,
a hard enough job.
neither am I. But it's just that's just the law of physics. That's just the way it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it works, right? But folks, what I'm trying to tell you here,
That's
guys,
reality.
what I'm trying to tell you here, guys, is prepare. Please prepare. This is going to get
Yeah.
real. But right now, if you ask me, Armando, how do you feel about how things are going? Look, I will support. President Trump and the good ones around him that I feel are good. Okay, 150% in whatever shape
Amen.
or form I can. But I am tired of listening to the same old fucking broken record. When I heard that speech last night, I'm like, what in the fuck is this? What is this shit? We've heard this broken record
It's a turnaround, but
forever.
it's going to take 3 years for those numbers to matter.
And he told us that, but that's the problem. He said, we're going to go through some really, really painful times, but don't worry,
Mm-hmm.
it is going to get better. Okay,
But
awesome.
are you ready to back it up afterwards and in the meantime?
Exactly. Thank you. Bingo. There it
You,
is. There it is.
you, the audience, every one of you in the audience, and don't ask me how. If you don't know, then your head isn't in the game. Then you're still lost.
Exactly. Exactly.
Look where you spend your money.
Exactly. You just took the words right out of my mouth. Where are you spending your money? What are you contributing to? What are you
If you don't like
subscribing
the corporations that are taking it and screwing your children's minds with it, or screwing the minds of these people who don't have children, wise up. Don't give them your money. If you don't like what Disney's doing or Universal, don't give them your money. Do without. Go on the internet, find a different way. You can do it. Anything you want is out there if you want it bad enough. You don't have to go to them.
See, Sam
And
Spencer.
stop going to the fast food joints.
Sam Spencer puts a great reply here to J.J. Johnson's. He says, let me see, where was it? Wouldn't have Congress's job. Trump himself even walking into the law. Most of them actually
I don't
executive
have it in
orders
front of me. Sorry.
and not making them laws. Okay, great. All right, so great. So he says on here in a reply, the Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, but what bills have they passed? Well, I got a better question for you. How many executive orders has Donald Trump signed since he took office? How many? I lost count. Ask me how many have been actually put into law. How many? Does anybody know?
Probably zero.
Anybody? Zero. None. Why do you think that is?
Because you have an entirely compromised body in the House and the Senate. They are useless.
There you
Congress
go.
is useless as teats on a boar.
There you go.
And they are showing you that every day with their arguments, with the dumb things they say, with farting congressmen like, what's his name, who screw Chinese spies on the side, all the rest of them. You've got a gaggle of idiots that
Exactly.
are there for the amount of terms they need to be to get their lifetime pension. Take away that lifetime pension, take away sovereign immunity while they're in office, make them accountable. And, we then got to get realistic and decide, what do we want? Do we want a republic like we had before? Because you don't have it. You do not have a republic, a representative republic. You don't even have a democracy. And anytime anybody spits that word out, democracy, walk the other way.
None. Here's the
What
other
you
thing.
have is a corporatocracy. And they
Bingo.
don't have to listen to you. All they have to do is spout the slogans that pacify you and that you think you want to hear and you think they're doing their jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, no one is minding the store. No one. It is a corporation on autopilot.
Yep.
And your taxes, you don't pay taxes that go to anything you benefit from. Your taxes pay interest on bonds that are 30 years old. Do you understand? You're 23, 24 years old. You're now working. You got your little degree. How far is that getting you? That you're working a dead-end job and you're paying taxes, but you're paying on a bit on money that was created out of thin air to run a dying edifice 10 years before you were born. Swallow that one, because that's the reality.
Let's also swallow this. Has the war in Ukraine ended with Russia? No. Oh, but he stopped 8 wars, Armando. Okay, great. Again, the clock's ticking. Okay. Bibi said, get involved, get into a war with Iran. Trump said, no, not doing it. Okay. I'll throw some bombs in there. We'll take care of that issue for you, but you're on your own. Has the issue in Gaza ended yet? No. Still going. Still happening. Okay.
And what business is that of ours anyway? Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
don't give a fuck what Gaza happens in Gaza or Israel. I'm not criticizing Israel. I'm just saying I don't give a shit what happens over there. That's none of my fucking business. This country is my business.
Exactly.
This is where I was born and raised. This is what I care about. This is what America First is about.
But you have these douchebags, our elected representatives, okay, that have interest.
Who all have Israeli passports,
yeah,
by the way.
Of course, that have
issued
interest
to
in
them.
all those parts of the world. Don't you think that they're getting kickbacks from that? Of course they are. So they're going to keep towing that line, and they don't give a shit what DJT says or does.
They don't want to get caught in fraud.
No.
Because they've been compromised by that country and many other little countries.
So why do you think Pam Bondi or Patel or anyone else up there in the DOJ is like, well, we just, oh, Bolton, we got him on 18 charges. Oh, we got so-and-so on this many charges. Oh, we got
this many
charges and blah, 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 that they know of anyway, or that they're telling you. Hillary's still not locked up. Okay. She's still running around out there. Where is Fauci?
Well, I can tell you this. If I went down and put a gun to my local gas station and cleared out their cash register and they know who I was, I'd be in jail tonight, wouldn't I?
Yes, you would, in a matter of hours.
And I'd be lucky if I were bonding out in the morning. No, but these people commit fraud and lie and massive, massive fraud against you, but nothing ever happens to them. Isn't that funny? Isn't that remarkable? That's called a show.
Where's Alejandro?
You're all willing participants in this fucked up human capital management show. When are you gonna stop being managed? When are you gonna say, hey, my life does have the value? Gold and silver don't mean shit if I'm not alive. if we're all not alive, none of it means anything.
You know, where's
None of it.
Alejandro? Where's Alejandro Mayorkas? Better yet, what's his name? The Connecticut or what is it? The Connecticut dad, right? You know, the Tren de Aragua, you know, guy that we're going to send him to the Nicaraguan jail down there. That, you know, what's her name from South Dakota went down there to visit him, right, and stuff like that. You know, yeah, you're deported. You're gone. You're out of here. You're going to jail.
Look,
and all of a sudden, a fucking judge gets in the way and says, "No, you need to bring him back." And guess what?
when,
He's back. He's
when
back.
when that scumbag in Maryland sat down with that one, doesn't matter he's Democrat or Republican, it's two sides to the same coin. Who minted the coin?
It's
But
the
that
bird.
Democrat guy sits down with this murderer with margaritas. Nobody does a fucking thing, and everybody says, "Oh, look at that!" And they argue over it as if it means something. It didn't mean a thing. That murderer didn't get a bullet put in his head. That's what it meant. And this guy that's in your lawmaking body sat there and made a fool out of everybody who looked at it and said, "I have an opinion about that." You should have had no opinion about it other than, what the fuck are you doing? Republican or Democrat? Again, two sides to the same coin. Who minted the fucking coin that you're arguing over?
Exactly. And we all
Who
know
minted the coin?
we all know the answer to that because we've talked about it here until we were blue in the fucking face. And this is
Rome
exactly
never died. Rome, the Roman coin is still alive, ladies and gentlemen. And you've got the Jesuit order on one side, and you've got another order called Knights of Malta on the other. And most of them are pretending to fight the Jesuits anyway because they're afraid of them. But the Jesuits are there to sow bloodshed, confusion, and pain in your lives so that you grow spiritually. Well, guess what? They've never shown a spiritual ending to it, have they? So
and
that game is a fucking lie. And that gave you religion. And that gave you the Bible. And that gave you the Quran. And that gave you this and that and the other thing. The only ones that have it right are the Buddhists who say, we don't know, but we know we don't respond to it because it's all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're the only ones on this planet who have it right. And what do? You kill them when they get in the way, don't you?
Mm-hmm. So all I'm
The
saying,
Hindus have 500 gods, which are nothing more than higher energetic entities, some called demons, some called angels, and you argue about them. Have you ever seen them? Have they ever done anything for you? Has Jesus talked to you today? Has God talked to you? Or are you part of the collective? Are you part of creation? And you're supposed to do something about it. Did you ever think that they wanted to keep you from that very concept? To depower you from birth?
there was a commercial.
Maybe that's the game here, ladies and gentlemen. So that you feed the machine and they sow the fear and the trauma, and you keep running into your little hives and looking for mommy and daddy when you're 40, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. No,
it's like
it doesn't exist.
No, it's like you said earlier. You have to be accountable for you. You are you. Okay.
Exactly. You are the beginning and you are the Alpha and the Omega.
Exactly.
And then you will find the real Alpha and Omega that they don't ever want you to be in touch with, because when you are, you don't need them.
Exactly.
You don't want them. You don't have time for them, and they're bullshit. You don't step on your neighbor. You don't hurt them. You help them. You're a human being, not a man or woman, not a this or that a day, or not da. You're a human being, and you do what is expected, and you govern yourself accordingly in all situations. And if you don't, you're the problem. And you're the reason that all of that exists, and you're the reason you cry about it. Get that through your heads.
Richard Pryor did a comedy skit back in the day playing the part of a preacher. And his bit was, has God touched you today? Well, if he hasn't, just send us $1.25 and we'll make sure he touches you. See?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
There
the
you go.
game.
And that's
Because you'll know God when you find it, and you're
ah,
not going to find it in a book, and you're not going to find it in a story. You're going to find it in what you do and what you don't do. You're going to find it when you can't give of yourself to another and help an old lady across the street because you're too busy and you're too important, or you're just too afraid, or you're not geared to even think about it. There's the problem. You're the
exactly.
problem.
All I'm
And
saying,
these fucking people feed on it.
all I'm saying, folks, is this. Okay. We lose the House in the midterms. We lose in 28 if Trump does not pivot and
Yeah,
go on the offensive, and I mean on the offensive, hardcore. When
because
we
this is
have
the
to clean
system you
out.
are in. This is what you have to deal with now. And that's it. Armando's giving you the reality of where you are now. If you want to get to where I'm talking about, you've got to fix these little problems because you've allowed them to persist and have power over you. So you do have to mind the midterms. You do
You,
have to put people in who are going to, not the ones who get the money, not the ones who get all the notoriety or have the most commercials. Forget about them. They're part of the system that you've allowed your parents and your great grandparents and your great grandparents, all of us, all of ours, they're all guilty of it. They're all guilty of it, not governing themselves accordingly.
and how can I come across and make this statement? And I have gone completely off script here, but it's okay. I'm going to jump back here in a minute. You know why, folks? Because personally, this is not research. This is not, hyperbole or anything like that. I personally experienced this with my own two fucking eyes. I am sick and tired of the prayer rugs in our school. Fuck Allah. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
You took Jesus
sorry,
out of the schools. You took prayer out of the schools. Allah is in. I'm sick and
but you're
tired of
going
the
to put
prayer
a
rug.
prayer rug in there,
Yeah, and I'm
and
sick
you're
and
going to
tired.
stand for that.
And I'm sick and tired of going to my local Costco and seeing halal foods in the frozen food section. I'm sick and tired. And just recently, halal cheeseburger on our school lunch menus. No one's doing a fucking thing about this shit. So tell me we don't have a problem. Tell me we're
I'd
not
piss
being
on it
infiltrated.
personally, but I'd get thrown in jail, wouldn't I?
Okay. But in the meantime, hey, our economy's doing great. Eggs are cheap. Prescriptions are going to be cheap. Just go to trump.rx, okay, in January and get all your drugs cheaper. Okay. Talk to me about what fucking matters. Okay. We have been Trojan horsed 6 ways from Sunday. We got ragheads so far up our asses, including in our government at the local level and state level and at the federal level too. And what's our FBI
Mm-hmm.
director doing? Who?
Nothing.
And it's like, not that I dislike the guy, but why are you using the FBI jet to go tool around the country with your girlfriend going on other podcasts, okay, who the podcast host is married to an elected member of government, okay, and talking about your girlfriend and relationships? The fucking country's on fire, man. What the fuck?
Exactly. And
Let
you've been
me get on the
pigeonholed,
offensive.
and they've cornholed that guy. He had every intention. I have no doubt that Cash Patel had every intention of doing the right thing,
He
but
was
he
set
didn't.
up.
He had no idea what he was walking into.
None.
He had
Neither did Bongino.
no idea. Neither
Neither did Bongino.
Bongino had an idea and was pissed off from day one. And the reason the guy's quitting is because he's tired of being pissed the fuck off
And Bondi is
and
toned the
seeing
line.
nothing.
And Bondi has toned the line for the Bushes. I guarantee you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Guarantee you.
Exactly. That woman should never have been nominated for that position. Period. End of statement.
And who was responsible for
Anybody who was ever in bed with the Bushes
and who
should
was
not even be thought of.
and who was responsible for bringing all these fucking degenerates, okay, from Florida? The other swamp, okay? Susie Wiles.
And crew, not just her, but Boris and the rest of them.
Yep, and crew.
Boris Epstein and the rest of them.
Correct.
The
Folks,
president trusted the wrong people. Sorry, Don. You trusted too many of the wrong people. You felt safe with them. You felt overwhelmed, like any man would taking on that job, because that's not a one-man job, to be honest with you.
Nope.
You felt overwhelmed, but you got people out here who have information and who have everything you need to put a lot of this stuff into a nice, neat can and pull out the big guns and take care of it. But you're not listening to them. You're not listening to them because these degenerates around you and these legalists around you are telling you can't do that or this will happen. You look, you're not running you're not running a a constitutional republic. You are running a friggin' corporation. We know that, you know that. And you know that the federal government is not supposed to be a corporation. And you know that the US Army isn't supposed to be running detention camps, detention facilities, nor are they supposed to be allowing and overseeing the bar, which has been taken out of their DNA, by the way. That's why the bar runs amok. And that's why SES runs amok. And that's why bureaucratic sedition runs amok. And nothing will change until the guns are brought out, meaning the boots and the uniforms, and
I can
people are rounded up and arrested for the crimes they have committed, the murders they have endorsed or been party or privy to or knowledgeable of. All of it. It's so massive and so expansive. Where do you begin? Begin at the beginning. A 1,000-mile journey takes place with the first step. You have control of the biggest guns on the planet. Use them. They're a mercenary force. They're yours to use. Use them.
I can
Don't
assure you
matter.
this.
Don't worry about what history says, or don't worry about what the media says. Shut them down.
I can tell you
Bring
this.
it. Bring it
If
to martial law.
our founding fathers were alive today, they will be fucking shooting guns a long time ago. They will be cleaning house. That I can guarantee you. We need to get into that mindset. Okay? We just
We're going to
do.
be put. We're going.
Freedom,
Unfortunately,
freedom
we're going
is
to be shot
paid.
at first.
Real freedom is paid with blood. Ask me how I know. Okay? Real freedom is paid with blood. It just
And
is.
they're setting it up. They're setting it up for that with the halal bullshit and the Sharia law, and
Exactly.
letting these dipshits, these spiritually degenerate morons run amok.
And it's coming to that, folks. It's going to come to that. I am telling you right now, the lights will go out. That's why I keep preaching, prepare. And this is the message for tonight. FEMA, prepare. The lights are going to go out. 2026 is going to be the reckoning. I am telling you, I just see it. I have looked into this shit. There's stuff that I can't even talk about, not even here, and I won't, because I know I'm
No,
a target already. So if these people, if they win in 28, I'll be gone. This platform will not exist. They're going to come for your guns.
many
And that's
platforms will
where the
not
bloodshed's going to
exist.
go. I'm telling you, they are going to target us and they are going to come after us. They will. Anyway,
And then you have to be willing to do what Solzhenitsyn wrote about when they come to your door.
well, I'll be like the Motel 6. I've said it before. I'll leave the light on for you. Come on. Okay. They'll take my ass, but I guarantee you I will take 5, 6, 10, 15 of them. Don't fucking care. Again, not my
Well,
first rodeo.
unfortunately, but yet when you talk like that, you become pointed out. You're the madman, and all the dummies out there believe that.
Okay.
All the
Well,
dummies they don't realize where it has all been pushed to in such a Madison Avenue fashion. It was sold to you, and you accepted it.
yep.
You accepted it. You
Well,
watched the television shows. You watched the series that showed you this and that, and you got away from it all. And every time you got away from it all, you were being programmed. And every time you tried to get back to the root of the problem, you were too programmed to deprogram to see the real root of the problem.
You have to get
There's the
yourself
problem.
in a defensive. I'm not saying get offensive. I'm not saying go out there and incite violence. No, what I'm
Not
saying is get in
hypervigilant, but a vigilant posture, number one.
vigilant posture and in the defensive mindset. Head on a swivel. Just be aware of your surroundings and just know this is where we're at. That's it. Nothing else to be said. Because I can promise you this, if the other side takes this in 28, they're going to come at us offensively with everything they got because they're going to bury that last nail in the coffin and we're all going to be
They're going to pull out the guns in your face when it should have been the other way around. Those same guns in your face should have been pulled on them.
Yep. So let's get back into continuing with FEMA because I want Ghost to opine on this. He's already heard enough and knows because we talked about it before. So for scholarity and investigative research, you can use the publicly available unclassified text and a conference report, but you will not find line by line dollar ceiling schedules publicly unless declassified or released later under FOIA. That's Freedom of Information Act or other disclosure actions. If you like, I'm just going to move forward here to see, because now we're going to go ahead and go to the originally classified schedule for fiscal year 1991. Okay, have since been declassified and released. There is some chance portions are now public. All right, so let's take a look now at PL or Public Law 101-647 that Cooper talked about in his book. Okay, so here are the details on Public Law 101-647, the Crime Control Act of 1990, signed on November 29th, 1990, and that was by George Bush. Okay, so what is Public Law 101-647? Public Law 101-647 is a legislative act enacted by the 101st U.S. Congress on November 29th, 1990. Okay, the American Presidency Project. In short title is the Crime Control Act of 1990. Okay, I got really detailed on this. I'm sorry. So, but anyway, the originating bill was SB 3266. You can find that on congress.gov. Okay, so major components and what it did, Public Law 101-647 was a broad omnibus crime control statute. Okay, it bundled many different reforms and new laws under one umbrella. Okay, this is coming from the Office of Justice. Now, some of the key pieces included under the law, i.e., titles, acts, folded into one, were the Anabolic Steroids Act or Control Act of 1990, strengthening controls and penalties related to anabolic steroids. All right, it's like a time machine here. So, Victims of Child Abuse Act of 1990, Child Protection, Restoration, and Penalties Enhancement Act of 1990, adding requirements. Come on, mouse. Damn it. Sorry, folks.
Even the computer is sick of all this shit.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, Child Protection, Restoration, and Penalties Enhancement Act of 1990, adding requirements, protections, and stronger penalties related to child abuse reporting and abuse crimes. All right, here we go. This is not old, right? It's like the old saying, everything old is new again. Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990, banning unauthorized firearms in school zones. Unauthorized firearms in school zones? What's an unauthorized firearm? Again,
Slingshot? I don't know. What the hell? Firearm's firearm.
Come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, exactly.
The Criminal Victims Protection Act of 1990 and Victims' Rights and Restitution Act of 1990, strengthening victims' rights and restitution provisions, right? So federal level reforms to financial crimes, bank fraud, thrift fraud, debt collection, anti-fraud enforcement. This is all corporate shit, all right? And related banking/financial institution oversight via the Financial Institutions Anti-Fraud Enactment Act of 1990. Debt collection, bank or thrift fraud, prosecution statutes. Okay, so now they're writing laws okay? Or they're giving you remedies for the problem they created and are currently involved in. You guys are starting to get the picture. Ghost made this a point about this earlier, okay? In case you don't know, you need to know. Provisions for mandatory detention and stricter. Provisions for mandatory detention and stricter penalty for offenders convicted of serious crimes, including drug crimes. That's very broad, okay? Via Mandatory Detention for Offenders Convicted of Serious Crimes Act. Again, no detail, very broad and open, okay? This is the point that Cooper made because he gave better details. The law on the books is very broad and very open to whatever it is that they want to put in here. That's the point, right? So, enhanced cooperation among law enforcement agencies or cooperation among law enforcement agencies, removal of certain procedural barriers. What are those barriers? They won't tell you. And expansion of federal authority over certain crimes via the National Law Enforcement Cooperation Act of 1990. Again, very broad. Provisions that affect sexual crimes against children and kidnapping, abduction, / sentencing enhancements. For example, under Title VI, the law amended 18 U.S.C. 1201, kidnapping, unlawful restraint, to include extra sentencing levels for abuse, sexual exploitation, or other aggravating factors. That's guidelines.ussc. You can find this there, right? Mandated criminal background checks for reporting obligations for individuals working in childcare, social services, education, or any job involving children on federal lands or in federally operated or contracted facilities. What was the name of that abortion clinic? I wonder if they fall under these laws. You know, the ones that do the abortions. Anyway, what am I talking about? This codified in the child abuse, child care worker background checks provisions, okay? That's under Two Legal Information Institute. So, why it's significant? Its impact, the law marked a major expansion of federal involvement in crime control, covering not just street crimes, but white-collar and financial crimes, child protection, firearms control, schools, as well as victims' rights and restitutions, Office of Justice, right? Programs too. It raised penalties and introduced mandatory detention for certain serious offenses. What are they? They don't tell you. Shifting sentencing and enforcement intensity in the war on crime or drugs era. It created mechanisms for more rigorous child abuse reporting, background checks for people working with minors, especially under federal jurisdiction, and strengthened the protective laws for victims and children. For white-collar and financial institutions, it expanded federal enforcement tools for fraud, bank and thrift failures, and financial crimes, which likely affected regulatory and prosecution practices. Where it's codified, in other words, how it's accessed, the act was originally published as Statutes at Large 104, Statute 4789 in 1990. Its text, as amended over time, is maintained and updated. You can find a compiled version labeled Crime Control Act of 1990 as mentioned through used widely by legal child welfare and law enforcement documents, okay? Many of the statutory changes affected by Public Law 101-647 that Bill Cooper talked about appears in various titles, chapters of United States Code. Example, child abuse, reporting laws, criminal procedure changes, sentencing enhancements, etc. For example, its child care worker background check provisions are implemented via regulations that reference PL 101-647. Legal Information Institute, where you can get that. All right. So going down here, so the title code, the code section that amended by Public Law 101-647, here's the breakdown. Code sections change or added. So what did change? All right. Is there any relation to Public Law 101-647 that ties with HR 4079? Okay. The answer to that was yes. HR 4079 is directly tied to Public Law 101-647. However, The direct connection, H.R. 4079, was a major crime-related bill introduced in the House of Representatives in 1990. When it was passed by Congress and signed by President George H.W. Bush on November 29, 1990, it became Public Law 101-647, the Crime Control Act of 1990. In other words, H.R. 4079 is the bill that became Public Law 101-647. They are not separate laws. They are the same legislation at different stages of the legislative process. So why the confusion? Okay, why the confusion? Large bills like this often contain many sections, including amendments to Federal Crime Code, money laundering statutes, asset forfeiture rules, immigration enforcement components, federal emergency or contingency procedures. This is why many different topics are associated with it, including some claims about FEMA authority. Starting to get the picture? If you want, okay, well, I might as well go ahead and do it here. So let's break down what specific sections of Public Law 101-647 people associate with FEMA or emergency powers, okay? Here's a clear breakdown of what parts of Public Law 101-647, the Crime Control Act of 1990, which Cooper referenced differently than here. People often connect FEMA emergency powers or federal authority expansions and which parts actually deal with those topics, right? So, how does Public Law 101-647 connect to FEMA or emergency powers? Public Law 101-647 is a massive omnibus crime bill, over 500 pages. I think bills only had like 30. See the difference? Most of it deals with criminal justice, but a few sections touch areas that later became tied to FEMA-related claims. All right? Here are those claims. 1, asset forfeiture and federal seizure authority. Right? So 101-647 contains several chapters expanding, right? Federal seizure rules, asset forfeiture procedures, federal authority to seize property connected to criminal activity. This later influenced emergency asset seizures, right? Interagency cooperation, including agencies that later merged into DHS/FEMA after 2003. All right? But sometimes people misinterpret this as FEMA seizure power, but FEMA itself is not granted new direct authority in this law. Number 2, federal emergency management related provisions. Inside the bill, there are indirect ties to emergency response functions because it amended laws involving federal disaster fraud, misuse of federal emergency funds, interagency cooperation between DOJ, Treasury, and federal emergency offices. These amendments strengthen criminal penalties for fraud during national emergencies, federal investigative power during declared disaster zones. These provisions later became part of the body of laws FEMA operates under. But again, no new FEMA powers were created. So they say. 3, here we go, immigration-related enforcement components. This is a hot topic today, right? The bill includes amendments dealing with aggravated felon deportation rules, okay? Detention guidelines, criminal penalties for illegal re-entry. Why this matters. Later, DHS and FEMA myths revolved around mass detentions or FEMA camps. Here we go. These myths often incorrectly trace back to Public Law 101-647 because it strengthened federal detention and deportation statutes. But the law contains no FEMA detention authority whatsoever. Bullshit. Federal bureaucratic regulation, reorganization links. PL 101-647 updates federal cooperative structures and grants DOJ broader coordination with none other than who? The Treasury, of course, INS, now under DHS after 2003, other federal investigative bodies, because DHS and FEMA were created 13 years later in 2003, conspiracy theories sometimes retroactively assign emergency government meanings to this law. However, nothing in PL 101-647 establishes FEMA powers. Nothing authorizes martial law or civilian detention. It's not a crime bill, not an emergency powers bill. Okay, so in summary, and here we go, to be very clear, all right, H.R. 4079 became public law, 101-647 on 29 November 1990. PL 101-647 expands federal crime laws. To what? We don't know. Expands asset forfeiture. For what? We don't know. Updates fraud and emergency fund enforcement. Strengthens immigration-related penalties. We haven't seen any. All right? Like I said, they're not getting them out quick enough, right? So what they say it does not do, it does not grant FEMA new powers. Really? Does not authorize FEMA camps. Well, shit, I've seen them. Does not establish martial law authority unless the president declares a national emergency as Cooper outlined in the book. Okay? For up to 5 years. Think about that for a moment. Let that sink in. That was at the beginning. So, is there a connection between SB 2834? That's a great question. Right? So I found no credible evidence that Public Law 101-647, the Crime Control Act of 1990, and SB 2834, or the latter, Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 1991, are formally or legally connected, despite repeated claims by certain authors, here we go, by certain authors and conspiracy-oriented sources. Okay, so then I found and why that perpetuated connection appears to be based on misunderstandings or misattributions. What the official records say, separate laws, separate topics. Public Law 101-647 was enacted again on 29 November 1990 as the Crime Control Act of 1990. Its origin bill was SB 3266, not SB 2834. Which is the one that they passed secretly in the dark of night without the public ever knowing. That was Cooper's Achilles heel, okay? Now, the main purposes of PL 101-647 revolve around criminal law, child protection, drug laws, firearms control. Example, school zone, gun ban, whatever, right? Financial white-collar crime, sentencing rules, victims' rights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, SB 2834, as often cited in alternative media, that would be me, or conspiracy narratives, refers to the Intelligence Authorization Act, or at least that has been the claim. The official first version of the Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 1991 became law, was actually passed as a different bill, okay? A different bill, which was what? H.R. 1455, okay? Are you guys starting to get this? Right? You guys, are you guys getting this? You know, say in the chat, right? There is no legislative text, congressional record, or official statute number linking SB 2834 to PL, Public Law 101-647. Their bill numbers, sponsors, legislative histories, and subject matter are entirely distinct. Thus, the official legal record shows them as completely separate. Sorry about that. Boop, 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 boop. Yep, I got that. Okay, hold on. I lost my place. I hate it when this happens. There we go. Okay, so entirely. All right, so thus, the official legal record shows them completely separate and unrelated laws. Where the connection claims come from and why they're misleading. The idea that SB 2834 is tied to PL 101-647 or that SB 2834 became a FEMA takeover bill under 101-647 seems to stem primarily from, are you ready? Conspiracy or alternative history sources, example, such as the writings of Behold the Pale Horse, which claim SB 2834 and HR 4079 or PL 101-647 were passed together, secretly merged. Okay? Misinformation, conflating crime control, emergency powers, intelligence authorization, and FEMA powers. Some sources assert that the ambiguous language in SB 2834 allowed the extensive or the executive branch to repurpose any appropriated funds for covert operations and therefore secretly enable FEMA take over. Fear-driven interpretations of the phrase any federal department, agency, or entity used in arguments claiming the law allowed the president to deploy any agency, including FEMA, for covert actions, but those claims are not backed by the official legislative record. Of course not. There is no statute or amendment linking PL 101-647 to intelligence authorization law. There is no public bill history showing SB 2834 merged into PL 101-647, and no documented FEMA takeover clause in the enacted text of PL 101-647. So in conclusion, there is no verified connection between SB 2834 and Public Law 101-647. PL 101-647, the Crime Control Act, stems from an entirely different bill, which is SB 3266, addresses criminal law, and was signed separately. SB 2834, the intelligence authorization, even its statutes and implementation are different. And any claims tying it to PL 101-647 or FEMA rely on unverified or conspiratorial sources. Therefore, no legal or documented tie exists between the two, and any alleged linkage appears to come from fringe or speculative narratives, not from legitimate legislative history. This will make everything absolutely clear. Here we go. Again, behold the pale horse, William Cooper. Similar derivative publications and blogs. These sources make several incorrect claims, including claim SB 2834 and HR 4079 were merged into one giant emergency powers bill. In fact, there is zero legislative record showing these bills were combined. The claim, SB 2834 became part of PL 101-647. The fact, according to the government, nothing in PL 101-647 corresponds to any attributed to SB 2834. They are completely unrelated laws. And the final claim, SB 2834 allowed FEMA to become a nationwide police or intelligence agency. Fact, FEMA is never mentioned, nor empowered, nor referred in any way in the real 101-647 text. So the short summary of it is, folks, is Public Law 101-647 is real. SB 2834 is not part of it, and the alleged connection comes from non-government sources. Okay? There you have it. Thoughts or comments? All right? And you guys come to your own conclusions. Okay? Because now we're about to get real. Ghost, any comment on what I just went over?
Yeah, a lot of it's left broad. A lot of it's left up to interpretation. A lot of it's left in the hands of FEMA in reality.
Exactly.
And I have lived through the nightmare known as FEMA. And you go from station to station, question to question, they know more about you than your parents do by the end of it. And by the end of it, you're asking them, now what the fuck am I here for? Why am I wasting my time? What are you going to do? What is your function? I think their primary function during Katrina and other incidents like that was just to gather information on the entire, let's say, field of suffering that was going on at that time, and how to manage it in future terms, because they sure as hell weren't very good at managing the present. They didn't provide water. They didn't provide food. They didn't provide virtually anything. They wanted to know more about your property, what damages. And so many people lied about their damages and claims, and it was disgusting. It truly was. So it's there. It's not there for what people think it is. North Carolina is proof positive of that, isn't it?
It is.
even a worse job was done there, where they denied outside help.
By
Whereas
instruction.
with Katrina, at least outside help came before anything that you would call federal and even state, even though state and local tried their best. It was faith-based groups and individuals and humanitarian groups that were there before anybody with real, appreciable items for survival, water and food. And forget about what the Red Cross. That's part of the scam. The Red Cross is useless in these things. They give you a blanket, a cup of soup, and a check for $275. And don't let them talk you into donate blood either, because most of that is profiteering on their part. Let's be real with them, and I don't care, because I'm not going to go over what my dealings were with the Red Cross, because they were so disgusting. It's worthy of writing about, and that's what I'll do with it at a very short time to come. That'll be included in one of the pieces that I'm working on, because that was terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
And if they find out you have a rare blood type, they're going to bug the hell out of you for it. Again, because there's profiteering involved with that, and there's some nefarious agendas that are involved with the Red Cross. I will say it out loud. And that I received a letter of reprimand out of the regional headquarters when I was turned away, when I was accompanying a blind woman, and I was fresh out of surgery where I could barely walk at that time. Very interesting times that I was hit with the old spinal injuries from the military. But yeah, I was turned away because they didn't feel comfortable. I said, I don't need you to attend to either of us. I will tend to our medical needs. I will tend to her administration of insulin. I will tend to her care. I will tend to my own care. I don't need you. All I need is a couple of cots and a couple of hots. That's it. I've got everything else I need. But they turned us away. They turned us away because we couldn't walk around and just be people that they felt that we were going to be a burden to them. And I told them, I'm not going to be a burden to you. If anything, you'll be a burden to me. And it got turned around on me, and I actually received a letter that I have in a file to this day, that if I were to tell the truth of that story and show you the letter, the public would be appalled.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right. So all of this federal nonsense, again, is human capital management bullshit. And it's not there for you. It's there to control you. It is not there to help you. North Carolina, need I say more? Need I say more on the issue of both of them?
Or Louisiana
Yeah,
during Katrina.
Worse was Mississippi during Katrina. Louisiana got all the news because they flooded. Okay, sorry for you, felt bad. But just as many, if not more, died.
Up. Ghost, you there? I think I heard you bug out.
Infinitely worse. It was pure destruction.
Okay.
It was pure destruction. Louisiana didn't get a 30-foot tidal surge with 12-foot chops on top of it, wash over entire land masses and wash entire families and people out to sea. They counted them as missing persons, not among the dead.
Hmm.
And then when you had the highest concentration of deaths, not 1,000 meters southeast of me, on the entire 175 miles of coastline going west of New Orleans and east of Mobile, and their bodies and their body parts in my yard. Okay. And if you found body parts and they didn't genetically identify them, they were missing.
Yeah.
Missing. Okay. But 400 died in each of the 3 coastal counties. And then the 3 coastal counties north of them, each one of them, you had several hundred deaths. You had more deaths in Mississippi and far more destruction. I mean, Bay St. Louis, Waveland, wiped off the map. Maybe 10% of one of the town's homes still in some semblance of ability to live in. Most of them condemned, let alone the bridges, concrete bridges that have been there for decades, washed away, washed clean. The CSX railway twisting 2 rails, twisting into the water in 2 places, between Bay St. Louis and Basse Christian, and between Biloxi and between Ocean Springs. Nothing. Casino barges that displaced more than World War II battleships, ripped from their 3-foot steel moorings, turned around and washed up on past the coastal highway of Highway 90, most of which was washed away. Have you ever seen concrete and asphalt completely washed away?
Yeah. Storm surges
For
are
60 miles?
Yeah.
Okay. Mississippi was lost in the fog because New Orleans had a lot of people who couldn't take care of themselves if they tried, and they got stuck in their own roofs. Whereas people there were destroyed. All right. And all the Red Cross had for you was a $275 check. Okay, genius, what fucking bank is going to cash this?
Exactly.
And a cup of soup and a blanket. Well, thanks a lot. Kiss my ass. Now fuck off. Don't bother me again. Don't ask me for my name. Don't ask me for my social. Don't ask me for anything because I'm not giving it to you. Not giving you a damn thing.
It freaking sucks. But anyway,
all right. The whole thing is, again, I'm saying all this to say that it's a sham.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was Monkey Boy Bush, Daddy Bush, when all these laws that you're talking about were passed, giving all of the fat contracts to all his buddies down there. And Haley Barbour, jumping in from Mississippi, he did a hell of a lot better job than what's her name over in Louisiana. I forget her name. The woman who was just so mealy mouthed. And it wasn't until General Honore got off that helicopter cursing up a storm. What the fuck is going on here? What MF and this and MF and that is going on here? What the hell are you people doing? And you're doing nothing. And he got things rolling over in Louisiana and in Mississippi. And then I got to watch the Marine 1, 2, and 3 fly over because you didn't want to know which one the president was in, did you? And I watched him get in front of the one casino as I was walking on a walker 3 miles to a Fema augmenting medical station to get IV fluids and IV administration units for others and medicines for others, where he's down there making a speech, and I walk by and I was like, fuck you. I ain't even got the time to sit here and 3 blocks away and look at you. Well, they framed everybody up against the surviving oak trees that had yet to die from the salt water incursion in front of the Beau Rivage. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Hmm.
If, fuck this shit. And
Yeah,
kept on going and took care of business, took care of these people who couldn't take care of themselves. And I could barely walk.
that's
So yeah, that's FEMA. That's well, these fat ass people from Ohio, fat asses, fat nurses, and fat doctors sat on their fat asses questioning the hell out of you. And I said, wait a minute, are you here to integrate with this hospital or augment it? Which is it? Because you're not getting shit done as far as I can see. And I had combat field medical training, so I saw what was going on. I'm like, you people are a disgrace. Doctor Who? F you. You're a disgrace. And yeah,
Kevorkian.
I said these words. I've always been this way. I've always been the nicest son of a bitch you'd ever meet. The nicest man you'd ever meet. But when I saw you were doing something that you knew better or you could be doing better, I was the first to let your dumb ass know. And I let them know. You're a sham. What training do you have in actual medicine such as this? You're giving them band-aids and 3 days of medicine, and you're writing 3-day prescriptions. What pharmacy is open within 110 miles of this location, you dumb son of a bitch, that they can fill it at? And if you don't have the medications and the hospital won't supply it because they're overrun with cellulitis cases from all of the sewage water that was washed up in the first waves of the washing over of the entire cities that exist along that coastline, what good are you? What's being flown? What's being helicoptered in?
Nothing.
All the shit for the president to make a fucking speech,
Yeah.
but I don't see the pallets being dropped in this open parking lot here where your tents aren't set up and staked in. I don't have to qualify myself to anyone on any of this. So you want to talk about FEMA, you're talking about an organization that has been set up and studying you and gathering data on more how to manage you when you're at your worst and not to help you when you're at your worst.
And that's
And I know
exactly
people and
and
I know people who worked for him who were alcoholics and on every pill you can imagine because they couldn't stand for what they were working for.
mm-hmm.
And I told them, quit. Do yourself a favor. Get off the shit. Get your life back together. I'm done with FEMA.
And that's exactly what we're going to get into in the final segment of the broadcast. Okay, I'm going to drop some more goodies on you from the assignment I went on. But
Did they jibe with what I was saying, with what I
oh,
was telling you?
oh,
I
big
lived,
time.
I lived through, didn't, I was a spectator as well as a participant. And if what I've just said jibes with what you're going to say, I want to hear it.
Oh yeah, but first and foremost, folks, hang on. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. All right, and I will be right back. Hang on, hang tight. I'll be right back, folks.
I'd sing you a song, but you don't want to hear me sing.
Yep, be right back. All right. All right. Thank you. I had to go and take a little break. I had to go get me another drink here to wet the old whistle. All right. Going over to the chat here real quick before we get into hour 3, and we're going to finish this off. I'm going to talk to you guys about some really interesting things that's going to coattail right on back of what Ghost was talking about related to Fema. Some of this information I'm going to share with you guys, during my assignment is I don't know if you guys know of this or heard of this or something like that, but I found it and it's going to tie into shit. Sorry about that. That was my fault. It's going to tie into everything that we've been talking about so far and what I see, in my opinion, coming. Okay. And this is why the broadcast tonight was on FEMA, because it is important for you folks out there to know this stuff. You got to be, again, the key word is what? Prepare. Prepare. That's what this is all about. Prepare. All right. So, what I'm going to dive into right now, and I got a picture actually here. Has anybody out there ever heard of Mount Weather? Anybody? I'm going to go to the chat. How about you?
Chat. I know what Mount Weather is.
You know where I figured you would. Yeah. Has anybody in the chat heard of Mount Weather? What it is, where it's at?
There's a few others.
Huh?
Iron Mountain and a few others. But go ahead with Mount Weather.
Okay. All right. Well, I have one. Let me see. Yes, though, has said yes. That's good. I'm glad you guys are informed, as I would expect being on this broadcast. And being in the audience, sorry, I spilled a little bit of this holiday creamy vanilla zero sugar Coca-Cola, right? Because, Cubans need to get hydrated because we're hot-blooded. Ay, mama, caliente. Woo! Anyway, wish I would be puffing on a good Padron right now, but that'll come later. Anyhow, all right, so here we go. Get ready. I don't have my tinfoil hat because this is not tinfoil. This is real. All right, so Mount Weather, officially known as Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center, or MWEOC, is a highly secure federal facility located in Bluemont, Virginia, 48 miles west of Washington, D.C. It is operated by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, who is who? FEMA. Okay? FEMA. And serves as a key site for continuity, okay, of government operations in the United States. Okay? You guys getting this?
Otherwise known as COG, Continuity of Government.
Yes, sir, COG. So, purpose and function of continuity of government, or as Ghost said, COG, right? Mount Weather is part of the U.S. government's continuity planning. It is designed to house top government officials, including members of Congress and executive branch personnel, in the event of what? A national emergency. What is a national emergency consist of? Whatever the president feels is a fucking national emergency, such as a nuclear attack or other catastrophic disasters. I don't know. Maybe Muslim terrorists start blowing up shit.
We're still in as I've said many times, the banking holiday of 33 was never stood down. We are still in a state of emergency, have always been in a state of emergency. In 1973, Congressional Commission was put into place to even research that. And they found that 560 lines of code since then, at that time, had been added to enforce executive power, such as the ability to send troops to foreign nations without congressional approval, meaning a full-fledged war without ever declaring war. We just spent 20 years at war, ladies and gentlemen. Was there ever a declared war by Congress? No. No. It was a money-making, oil-grabbing venture. And it was payback for the hit put out on Daddy Bush by Junior. In other words, you got to get rid of a couple of buildings in New York that in 1989 were declared out of code because of their unique outer steel construction and concrete core, i.e., the Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm.
But you kept them in action because you took care of uh, the code enforcement people in New York City and made sure that they didn't say anything. And then when it came time they were too big to do a controlled demolition by city code and statute, and you would have had to have taken them down piece by piece with cranes, and that would have cost a whole lot more money. But instead, you used controlled demolitions and very unique directed energy weapon systems, terrestrial based, mind you, not anything as elaborate as in orbit or geostationary orbit.
Interesting.
And you got to turn that into then a war of well, we got to go into Iraq now in 203 because they've got they've got uh, uh, what was it, weapons of mass destruction. Well, they still had, and they gave up prior to that conflict all of the anthrax that we had supplied them with, so they could use them on the Iranians in the Iran-Iraq war. We wanted to see how effective they were in battlefield use, and they did use them, and we did get the data on that. And then we wanted to make sure that they didn't have them for use on us, so they brought out vaccine A, which disabled a lot of people who were involved in the first Gulf War. I remember it well. And uh, let's just leave all that at that, because special provision was given to a small company in Michigan where they said, yes, use the adjuvant that was banned in 1929 called squalene oil, a derivative of olive oil that if you eat it, it's good for you if it goes through your alimentary canal or your digestive system more appropriately, more understandably to the average person. But if you inject it in the bloodstream, it causes your immune system to go on overdrive. And whatever is injected in your system builds immunities to it, which was anthrax. So if you look up vaccine A, you'll probably find what you can find. A lot of it's been whitewashed since because it even caused the body to attack itself. It was so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And it caused the actual, in some people it caused the body to attack collagen, which is the basic building block of every cell in the body, especially those of the brain and nervous system. So you had severe depression at mild, and you had suicides, and then you had massive degenerative uh, neural diseases, conditions that were unidentified. They would usually give them one of the typical diagnosis just to get you off the books. But the critical personnel, out of 750,000 in theater through all the countries, about 150,000 received vaccine A, which gave you 60 times the amount of anthrax doses you should have had in a 6-month period, building up to being deployed for that war.
Yep.
I know, I received it. I'm alive to talk about it by the grace of God.
Yep. I got so many of
And
those on
now,
every deployment,
now
man. I
they
don't even
put
know what the hell they gave me, but I'm still here
now
taking.
they now they put squalene oil in kids' vaccines, and you
Mm-hmm.
wonder why. You wonder why um, autism has gone to 1 in 30 something from 1 in 10,000 in the normal population.
That's
I'll
correct.
shut up on that.
All right. All right, let's continue. So, Emergency Operations Center, right? It functions as a command and control center for FEMA, coordinating disaster response across the country. It used for large-scale emergency management exercises in and real-world crisis. Secure and self-sufficient facility. By the way, Mount Weather is underground, built on the largest slab of granite in the entire country. In case you didn't know that, right? So, and I'll probably read this again. So the facility is built to withstand severe attacks, including nuclear explosions, with underground areas capable of supporting hundreds of personnel for extended periods. It has its own power, water, medical, and communication systems to remain operational during a national emergency. So, historical context, right? Mount Weather's origins date back to 1959 during the Cold War as part of the U.S. strategy to ensure government continuity or continuing in case of nuclear war. It has been mentioned in various emergency preparedness plans and has occasionally appeared in news reports, often fueling speculation about secret government activities due to its classified nature. The public perception, while primarily a FEMA operations center, Mount Weather is often associated with conspiracy theories about secret bunkers for elites, though its main documented function is continuity of government and disaster response. So in short, Mount Weather is essentially a high-security FEMA facility and with National Emergency Command Center critical to U.S. Continuity plans. Now, there are other facilities like Cheyenne Mountain, which is more common with the general public, Raven Rock, which together form the emergency infrastructure around D.C., right? There are others. Let me go ahead over to part 2 because part 2 is going to explain a little bit more on Mount Weather. Okay. I'll be totally honest with you. I used to hear stories, about it. I thought it was never a thing. You know what I mean? I really had no clue, but in essence, again, I got it out of the, Bill Cooper's book, but let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown. All right. So the breakdown of Mount Weather fits into the broader U.S. Continuity of Government or COG network, along with other major facilities. Those facilities, number one, Mount Weather in Virginia, primary role, like I said, FEMA's emergency operations hub, continuity of government for civilian leadership. Okay. The key features, underground facilities that can shelter hundreds for long periods. I actually got a picture of it. Secure communication and operational capabilities for national crisis management, often considered the main evacuation and operational center for Washington, D.C. officials, all done underground through tunneling systems that are connected. How about that, folks? Okay. With operational transportation underground, rails, vehicles. This thing is like, it's huge. It totally is absolutely huge. Where is my chat at? All right.
There are many of those now throughout the country.
Yes.
Many of them.
Where in the hell is my chat? Well, there it is. Okay. All right. So back. Number 2, Cheyenne Mountain Complex. That's Colorado. Primary role, military command center, especially for aerospace warning and defense, which now is where? What is the name? It's in Alabama. I forget. It's been moved.
Huntsville,
Huntsville,
Redstone
Alabama.
Arsenal. And
Yeah,
they
that's
also moved as part of the command back to Omaha, Nebraska.
There you go. Hegseth made that. So the key features here, originally built during the Cold War to withstand nuclear attack, houses NORAD, North American Aerospace Defense Command, and the U.S. Northern Command, or U.S. Northcom elements. Functions as a military coordination hub during national and international threats, including missile attacks. 3, you have Raven Rock Mountain Complex in Pennsylvania, Maryland border. Primary role, backup Pentagon Military Command Center. Key features: underground fortified facility for Department of Defense or Department of War now, continuity operations. Designed to sustain top military leadership if the Pentagon is incapacitated. Now, often called Site R, it is a key part of the military COG infrastructure. Other key COG sites, undisclosed bunkers near Washington, D.C. Smaller facilities intended for evacuation of Congress, Supreme Court justices, and cabinet officials. NORAD and Cheyenne Mountain Networks, links to satellite early warning systems and missile defense networks. How they work together: civilian leadership evacuated to Mount Weather for safety and operational continuity. Military leadership moves to Raven Rock or Cheyenne Mountain to maintain defense command. Communication: all facilities are interconnected with secure lines, satellite networks, and radio systems to ensure national coordination during emergencies. Redundancy: multiple sites ensure that if one is compromised, i.e., nuclear strike on DC, the government and military can still function. So in short, Mount Weather equals civilian administrative COG hub. Raven Rock is military backup. Cheyenne Mountain, military national defense hub, all linked in and layered emergency management in defense network. All right. So how does, what does Mount Weather, what's it like during an actual activation, including food, shelter, and operations? It's pretty fascinating. Here's a detailed look at what life inside Mount Weather would be like during a full activation as a continuity of government facility. First, you have population and evacuation. The facility is designed to shelter hundreds to possibly over 1,000 people at a time, including members of the executive branch, senior Fema personnel, and other key government officials. Essential support staff would be communications, medical, food service, security, and operations teams. Evacuation would likely happen via motorcades, helicopters, or secure convoys from Washington, D.C. area to Virginia. Living quarters: underground bunkers provide private or semi-private rooms for top officials. Dormitory-style housing for support staff. Facilities are self-contained, so evacuees could live there for weeks or even months if necessary. Food and water: stockpiles of non-perishable food capable of sustaining the population for extended periods. Water
Film
treatment.
police force, water treatment, fresh water, underground supplies,
Mm-hmm.
um, um, air purification, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
recirculation of air would be purer than any air you've ever breathed outside if it were completely enclosed and in on its own enclosed system. They all have these things, all have these capabilities. Cheyenne
Not
Mountain, a lot of the buildings are on springs that float on water in case the mountain is hit with direct strikes from, multi-megaton warheads. It can survive all of that.
and
Blast doors,
a
all of
severe
it.
military and security force, I gather, plus surveillance.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
and and ground uh, ground communications that are both single sideband and microwave, as well as shortwave and uh, UHF, VHF, etc. All of them. Usually, all those would be encrypted, but you could hear those You can tune in on those frequencies if you wanted to, if you had the right equipment. Um,
So
but
like,
it all does serve a purpose.
right. No,
But
like,
in the end,
but my key
uh,
takeaway here is what Cooper said about FEMA what I just read to you guys, okay, about FEMA, the report I did, okay, uh, per government, just for public consumption. And now we're into this. FEMA is still involved here, right? So, like Ghost was saying, folks, water treatment and storage systems ensure clean drinking water, obviously, right? Meals are likely served cafeteria style, but top officials might have separate secure dining areas. Okay, of course. They got to get their ribeyes and their lobster and all that good shit, right? So, 4, medical facilities, fully equipped medical bays for emergency treatment, staffed by doctors, nurses, and medical technicians who would remain on site during an activation. Include supplies for trauma care, surgeries, and long-term health maintenance. Communications and operations, secure communication networks link Mount Weather to the White House, the Pentagon, Cheyenne Mountain, Raven Rock, and other regional FEMA centers. Okay. Continuous monitoring of national security threats, including missile attacks, cyber threats, domestic crises. Okay. Domestic crises. Command centers coordinate the federal response to disasters nationwide. Security, heavily fortified, anti-nuclear, anti-intrusion, and guarded by federal personnel. Restricted access with layers of checkpoints inside and outside the facility. Likely includes internal surveillance, secure vaults, and classified operations rooms. Daily life during activation, strict routines. Work schedules for operational staff, limited leisure time, restricted communications for security reasons. All messaging would go through secure channels. Ready? Psychological support may be provided to maintain morale during extended stays. The facility is essentially a self-contained city optimized for continuity of government rather than comfort. So here's some key takeaways. Mount Weather is not just a bunker, but a fully functional underground city designed to maintain U.S. government operations during extreme circumstances. Everyone there has a defined role, and life would revolve around security, survival, and maintaining national security, or national continuity, sorry. All right, let me go ahead and bring up, I have it here. This is a picture of Mount Weather, Virginia emergency operations. You can see here, like I mentioned earlier, this is all granite, supposedly. Big ass. The largest, I don't know, I thought Stone Mountain was a thing, but Stone Mountain ain't got shit on this place. So here you can see where it has command center, crisis planning conference room, living quarters, medical facilities, more medical facilities, food preparation. And I believe here is, if I may have to get out of large screen to be able to see it. Yeah, that would be their water filtration, probably air filtration also as well, and then utility infrastructure. Obviously, for secure, they're not going to give you too much. I was able to find this. I thought I wouldn't be able to, but I did. And all of this exists underground, not to mention access in and out from DC, other areas. We're talking about a city that is underground, connected by tunnels, railways, transportation for vehicles, whatever, because they got to get stuff in and out, right? Not just through the surface, but also underground. Okay. So given all this information, okay, I want to go ahead and go to the chat, just basically to do some, some Q&A. Let's go ahead and take some questions from you guys out there. Why did I bring this today? I wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight on what we're facing coming in 2026. Just my opinion, of course. It's going to get real. It's coming. I am 150% sure that we are going to be faced with some real challenging times. Ghost, do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It is coming.
With the fact, okay, allegedly, BlackRock took over our energy grid. Okay. Which that to me is unsettling in itself, giving their track record with State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard, all that stuff, which is whom? Okay. The money people. And that extends to the royal families. All right. And then some. I'll leave it at that. Folks, my prediction is the lights are going to go out. For how long? How long? I don't know. Could be 30 days. Could be, I don't know. Could be 60, 90, 6 months. Who the hell knows? But the lights are going to go out. We are going to have violence escalated big time. We are going to see on a weekly basis starting January 1st, every single week, the propaganda is going to intensify. The misinformation is going to intensify. Okay. X is going to be the biggest cesspool that you will ever see in your entire life, with all of the misinformation, all of the propaganda floating around out there by outlets that are probably bots or either AI generated, fake accounts, all this shit. So you got to be very careful on what outlet or what source you select that is actually going to give you real information as it dribbles out. Okay? I don't go specifically by that. Okay, this is on assignment, talking to people that I know, people, information that comes to me, from down south and things along those lines as I pass it up. And of course, I confer with Ghost also as well. The message here for today was to make you aware of what Bill Cooper discovered way back in the day, because he was in the game. Whether you like him or dislike him, whether they called him a nut job or not, it does not matter. A lot of the stuff that he put in that book, okay, after they won a lawsuit and they restocked the shelves in libraries and made it available again to the public after they offed him, okay, he was in the
He
game.
was murdered.
He was murdered. Okay.
He told you 9/11 was coming. He didn't know when, but he knew basically where. He didn't know the exact buildings. He didn't know. He knew it was going to be New York metropolitan area, and he knew it was going to be that fall. But no, he didn't know when, didn't know what. But he made people aware of it, and he was saying, CIA claims to be looking for, I'm giving you his words, claimed to be looking for Osama bin Laden, when he actually used the term on his broadcast, while some douchebag from CNN waltzes right up into his cave and does an interview with him.
And that was aired on TV. I remember seeing that.
It was.
They
And
actually
so
freaking aired it.
all of this, understand one thing. What you think you know today is 20 years behind the times.
Yep. And it's a lie. It's a fucking lie. All of it.
It's 20 years behind the times. Smart dust, nanotechnologies have already been deployed. 5G you'll find in many metropolitan areas. I'm sure many of you live among it. The small masts, the many masts. And you're living in a time where technologies are far beyond what anyone is even talking about, and they're already deployed. They're already being used. Well, you'd say, why would they let someone like Armando or myself and many others out there tell you about it? Because they know you're not. What are you going to do with it other than be aware of it? Do you know how to counter it? Well, there is ways to counter it. And that comes down to having a knowledge of, let's say, what disrupts electrical fields, what disrupts EM transmission. It's very simple things, such as the knowledge of Faraday cages and how they work and what materials to use, what you can buy, what rooms in your home you can make safe from certain, basically anything if you know how. Especially in a basement setting, anything from nuclear, biological, chemical to EM. EM is more dangerous than all of them right now. if certain things were utilized, if certain systems were fully activated that are in place. That with the biological component from what is infused, what people received in injections, doesn't make for a pretty tomorrow. It does not. That switch has not been flipped yet. I would just say, please look into these ideas and look at what's out there. Try not to get carried away with what, unless it is from a credible source and you understand the science, and the science is not that difficult to learn. Electromagnetism, electromagnetic spectrum, what it entails, what it doesn't entail, and how these systems, such as everything from smart dust to biogels, play into all of this. I would caution people to at least be knowledgeable of it, along with that biological, nuclear, biological, and chemical things that have existed for decades and decades before I was even born. Even before Armando was born.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all real stuff.
It is.
And there's no saying that certain wackadoodles that have been led across this border will not employ some of this. Anything from it's highly possible. Anything from a nerve agent to incapacitating agents such as blister agents, harassing agents that cause you to cough, and not necessarily like phosgene gas or chlorine gas, which would, cause you to drown from the inside of your lungs, blistering over, or blindness, etc., temporary or otherwise. All of this stuff is out there, and there's no dirty bombs. They talk about it all the time. There is no saying that any of this is not going to happen. There are too many people still who came from aggressor nations who are acting aggressively in their communities and even openly discussing these things.
Yeah, all you got to do is look at TikTok and look at the Somali videos of the guys, hey, white boy, white woman, you work for me, get to work so you can support me. And then using inappropriate language. This has to be dealt with. It just has to be dealt with. And I don't see any movement towards this. Okay. All right. If the UK is wanting to arrest and censor and just detain people here in America for talking negative about the shit that's going on over there in the UK, why aren't we enforcing something here to prevent this violent rhetoric from stopping? You got elected people. You'll have
kiss our American asses. They can fuck off and go to hell.
Exactly. Right. It's not dealt with. So Mia Dal, sorry, here has a question for you. It's up on screen. I'll read it for you in case you can't. It says, Ghost, can you talk about the stomach epidemic problem that they say is coming? What can we do about it, and how is it targeting people? Okay. Glad you brought that up. Fox News.
I'd be very careful going in public. I'd wear disinfecting surfaces isn't going to help you against this one. This one can form what's called protein spores.
Yes.
And Lysol, alcohol, nothing is going, none of even the hospital grade antiseptics for cleaning operating rooms and contaminated areas aren't strong enough to kill this. The only thing that'll kill that is a steam vacuum autoclave, or ethylene oxide, or gamma radiation, or several other types of chemical disinfection that are very, very toxic to you. if it has the same, it's been engineered with the same bonding capabilities, then I would just be prepared to keep flushing your alimentary canal, your mouth to your anus, with copious amounts of water, distilled or otherwise. I would try to use natural spring water. It's the best you can do and hope your body fights it off. But intake of proper nutrition, I don't know what medicines yet are effective against it. I don't know the properties of this pathogen just yet, but I'm sure you're going to find physicians out there who will know and who will be able to give at least a battery of both over the counter and prescription that are probably already available that can handle it. They're not going to put something out there that's going to kill them also in case they should contract it, those who are behind putting it out there. So there's going to be an answer or an antidote to it. The vaccine is not the answer for uh, a just a normal pathogen that your body will eventually fight off. Um, Even though it may have a higher death rate than COVID and it be more difficult on children. This is what makes me extremely angry about this pathogen. As long ago, I received information that it would affect children more so than adults. So if any adults in the house catch it, you're going to have to quarantine your kids from you. You're going to have to quarantine yourself from them until you have long dealt with it. And that's going to be a difficult thing to do in a lot of situations because most people simply do not understand aseptic technique and what it means and how you employ it in situations like this. You don't have to quarantine a whole section of, if you have the ability to quarantine, to seal off a whole section of your house where your kids and those unaffected can have bathroom facilities and you do not intertwine in any way, shape, or form until you are well past it. And a suitable regimen is available for especially children. And we know what that is, and we know it's effective. Not what they tell you, not what the officials tell you, but what physicians who are actually handling it correctly tell you. Because the divide has already been created. COVID did that. And if COVID didn't teach you one thing, it should have taught you don't listen to them. CDC is useless as teats on a boar. They're not going to tell you. What were they telling people? Respirators. That killed you. That killed more than it ever helped. That was common sense. When we already had medications that handled COVID, that had been around for 50, 60 years. So the same will be true with this. It's just going to be how to best deal with it and how to keep, if it is has a diarrheal component to it, keeping someone hydrated will be the biggest problem. But
Well,
hydration will be number one, and nutrition, vitamins, uh, whatever anybody can absorb as quickly as they can. Um, I don't know. I don't know the nature of the pathogen yet. I'm trying to find that out.
I will tell you this, and this was just before we came on tonight. So, oy vey, Dr. Mark Siegel, Fox News senior medical analyst, and I have pictures of it because I took it up the TV. New flu strain causing more severe problems. Okay, severe problems. Now, Yesto says in here, did Go say protein spores? He did, and I got it here also as well. All right. I want you to I'm going to put this photograph up to the camera so you guys can see it. Hopefully it'll come through clearly. You're going to see the spores there with what? Right? The protein spores sticking out just like the COVID virus. All right. So it's called subclad K variant among influenza A virus, a new flu strain emerging as a severe health threat. CDC is all over this shit. 89% uh of acquiring it. It is targeted for young kids in schools. Some symptoms are, and I know this because I've spoken to Rogue about this, Rogue RN, um, throwing up and diarrhea at the same time. It attacks the gut. Because remember, everything health wise, where does it go? The gut. Recommendations, okay? I'm trying to get this. God, what is it?
Electrolytes.
Not just electrolytes. Oh, Jesus
See,
Christ.
the problem with something that forms a protein, a bacteriospore, which is rare. All right. Normally, you have either viruses or bacteria or aerobic or anaerobic. Aerobic meaning they can survive in an oxygen environment. Anaerobic means after so many hours of exposure to oxygen on a surface or wherever, they will die. The oxygen will kill them. It'll break them down after so many minutes, hours, days, depending on the type of pathogen. Something that forms a bacteriospore, a protein spore element to it, can sit on a surface ad infinitum, and it can still be then once it's introduced back into a more moist environment, that of the mouth or the nose, it then the protein spore breaks down the coating, the protective egg or shell that it's in, so to speak, breaks down, and it then revives. And that's what makes it a difficult thing to deal with, because if people sneeze or cough or spit, and it's left on a surface, it's going to still survive
Yep.
until somebody touches it, touches their mouth, touches whatever, doesn't wash their hands. The key to this is washing your hands profusely and often, and then wiping off the surfaces that you use to wash your hands. This is a discipline that you would have to do many, many times a day while this is out there, if this should become widespread. Usually those type of bacteria and viruses that form spores are not as prevalent or virulent. This happens to be, I guarantee you, engineered, so it will be prevalent and it will be virulent.
Yes,
And
correct.
that's the problem with it.
So I'm going to hold this up to the screen. Hopefully you guys can see it and take a look at the protein spore, the spike proteins in this thing. Hopefully you guys can see this well. Hopefully it'll focus. There it is right there. Hopefully you guys are getting this. Okay. Probiotic, a really good source of probiotic, because everything starts and stems in the gut. Gut health is extremely important. Okay, supplements, vitamins, a good probiotic, fiber, especially, so you can keep.
A real Greek yogurt that tastes sour and bitter, but it's got all of the real probiotics that make it past the stomach and into your digestive system. If you can, you'll have to get kids to keep that down. A lot of these probiotics that you take in the capsule, most of it gets killed by stomach acids.
Yep.
It's a gimmick.
I got a really good regimen that I'm currently investigating right now through Millie, the wife. Okay, because she's very much into this as far as a good probiotic, a good regimen for gut health. Very important, because this will attack the gut. Second thing, those of you out there in the audience that have little kids in schools, I work in the schools. Okay, so I am wide open to contacting the shit. Okay, and then bringing it home. That is going to be ground zero. That's what's going to be targeted. They said kids. Okay. One of my grandkids, one of the boys, was perfectly well, went to school, had lunch in the cafeteria, went out to the playground, wasn't doing anything, puked up everything. Okay. Then he had the runs and had to go to the bathroom, right? Also, as well. I don't know. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe not. They've incorporated halal foods in our school system now. They're going to target the food, which are going to target the kids, because where did this food come from? If you can bag good nutritional lunches for your kids, give it to them, have them take it to school, get away from the freaking cafeteria food. I'm just going to put that out there as a protective measure. Okay. And
Yeah.
just remember, if you go into the schools, the kids will get somebody else, whether it's just a regular cold or a stomach bug or whatever, they're going to bring that shit home. They try to get it all the time for me. This is why I supplement. I take really good probiotics. I vitamin like hell. And I also eat this like candy. And I'm not plugging
Well,
Tucker
why?
Carlson, but I
Why?
take a lot of this also because nicotine actually helps in a lot of areas, because we were told it's bad for you. But this has really
No,
good
pure
circulatory
nicotine is not
circulation.
bad.
What's that?
Pure nicotine is not bad for you. It's the delivery systems that are often bad. What you're showing is not bad at all.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
Now, what makes anthrax and several other bioweapons such potent bioweapons is that they are in spore form in the warhead. And when the warhead buries itself or makes contact with the ground, it begins an aerosolization process and begins to spray it in the air, or the warhead just simply disperses it all at once into a cloud. And people breathe that in, and that's how a battlefield spore works. And within 24 hours with anthrax, you're usually dead. Now, the thing about what makes spores like this dangerous is this is something that could be added to food supplies and you wouldn't know it.
Yeah. And then you can just
And
go
there
down
is
that
a,
rabbit hole and go with chemtrails. What are they spraying in the air? Because understand this, folks. Everybody's, well, eat clean, grow your own food, grow your own stuff. Okay, great. Hey, I'm all on board with that. I have no problems with that whatsoever if you have the capability, the land, and the means to do so. Understand this. And I
absolutely.
learned this a long time ago. And I'm just going to use chemtrails as an example. Okay, could be maybe, maybe not. But you want to grow lettuce, you want to grow carrots, veggies, peppers, whatever. Where does it come from? It comes from the ground, right? It comes from the dirt. If your soil is contaminated by whatever they're putting out there as a delivery system, guess what's going to get contaminated too? The food you grow, because it gets the nutrients from the soil. When it comes to livestock, okay, cows, mad cow disease, pigs, chickens, whatever the case may be, right? Where do they eat from? Outside. Cows eat grass, right? Pigs eat everything, right? Chickens eat whatever. Okay. Well, if the soil is contaminated and livestock is eaten from the ground, they're going to get contaminated too. You understand? That's just how that works. It's common sense. You got to be really careful. You got to be very vigilant on where you grow your clean food from, and just wash it really well. You have to get in that mindset. Okay. You
That
have
makes
to.
sense.
It's just common sense, as Go said. But this will attack kids. Gates has already talked about this. He's already put the warnings out there. Hey, this is going to be coming, so be careful. And yeah, we're working on a vaccine for this. It's the same fucking replay again. It's the same playbook, right?
A vaccine is not what's required for this. What's
No.
required for something like this is prophylactic measures. And in other words, certain types of substances or medications that will keep the children's gut health up to par, their immune system up to par. And from there, if they should contract it, they're at least on the strong side of the equation.
Whoop, whoop.
And then whatever is used to kill it, or
What is
mitigated
that?
as much as possible once in the system until the immune system can take over. But a vaccine is always the go-to for these clowns because they want to they, they want the soft kill.
Yep.
The soft kill continues. The soft kill is going on right now through pharmaceuticals. All these new pharmaceuticals, every one of them, no matter what it's treating, a skin condition, uh, overweight or diabetes, uh, nervous system damage and death, or brain infections, or heart failure. I mean, come on. Those medications would have never been allowed on the market back many years ago when things ran pretty much as they should have, as far as the FDA and CDC were concerned, years and years and years ago. They actually did their job and did it well. But pharmaceutical companies realized that with deregulation, they could profit outrageously.
Mm-hmm.
And they could surely rape the American insurance system to make their profits where the rest of the world sustained itself with sales. So Trump actually, this administration has actually gone to war with the pharmaceutical industry. That's why we've had shortages of certain medications, especially those that allowed people to suffer.
Yeah.
And I know there are certain medications I still cannot get. I have to use substitutes for them. This is not because of what the administration has done, it's what the pharmaceutical industry has done. In this country specifically, they have made certain medications less available or through excuse not available at all, and working with concerns in China and other countries to do it.
What is that specific
This is
vitamin D?
this is criminal activity, by the way. But again, who the fuck is going to jail? Who's
Nobody.
getting a gun to their head? Who's getting
Nobody.
cuffs thrown on? Who's being pulled out of their offices? Nobody.
Nobody. And this
Nobody.
is exactly the point of the broadcast tonight, is talking about that. You guys need to be aware. This is not Donald Trump's fault. We got to support this man.
He is overwhelmed. This
We got,
administration is
yeah,
overwhelmed, infiltrated, and a victim of bureaucratic sedition and corporate attacks.
we got to protect this man. We got to pray for this man. Like there's our lives depend on it. There is nowhere else
And
to
that
go, folks. There is nowhere else to
and
go.
that better people, qualified people who are not there for personal or career gain to do the job with him and to those who are going to enforce what he may very well have to do. And this is why that group of idiotic Democrats came out, because that party is not a party anymore. It is
Mm-mm.
an operational arm of the globalist. It is a wing of the globalist apparatus that wants to take this country down. So they get that knuckleheaded astronaut who's commander of several missions, both space shuttle and International Space Station, who even did the comparison thing with his brother, his twin brother. They get that idiot and all these other so-called officers to come on and to make a statement saying to the military what I said years ago on this broadcast and several others, where the
Mm-hmm.
military may have to make certain moral decisions that may go against the chain of command. But the moral decision will be left with you, and there'll be difficult decisions, and they may get you into hot. Well, they made that I was saying that because those who would make decisions that would be right for America, that would have to do it. These people are saying it coming out again ahead of the curve because they know this year, chances are, some form of martial law will be declared.
Absolutely. I
And
am
it's,
on board with that.
I think we're talking within the next 30 to 60 days.
Yep.
Be prepared. Enjoy your holidays, but be prepared.
Be
Because
prepared,
when it
folks.
happens, it's the only way you can deal with this kind of sedition and this kind of corporate effrontery is to go after them with bigger, more powerful guns and a higher law than the bar system, because the bar system is corrupt. It's an administrative piece of shit that we have running in this country right now, federal on down. And
Yep.
I don't give a damn if you're a judge listening to this. You can kiss my ass. You're full of shit, and you're in a system that you're making decisions for that you damn well know are immoral, or wrong. And that most people are trapped in that system because they don't know how to get out of it.
Or they're profiting from the system and don't give a shit and want to stay in it. And that's the problem. That's the
And
crux of it.
and that's a problem. That's a very big problem.
So I got message just now
And
saying, well, how do you know that
so
these
this will
people
have
are
to
going
be
to do
dealt
it in the
with.
house? Right?
What
How do
is
these
that?
I got message via text. You know, I have people that actually listen to the broadcast and they don't come into live chat. So they send me text messages and ask me questions. And it's like, well, how do you know that, that we're going to lose the house in November? Well, let's do some simple math, right? How far away are we in the house, numbers wise, on the supposed correct side? Well, we just lost 3. We lost Green also as well, which I think was a huge mistake to let her go. Whether you like her or not, it's irrelevant because this is about survivability, right? We've
Yeah.
lost 3 already. So that takes our margin of victory in the House to almost nil, right? And they're going to flip some states. Okay. If that happens and they win the House, we have a lame duck presidency and we retain the Senate. Okay, whatever. It's a 50-50 split. But the aggression is going to intensify. And this is why I wanted to talk to you guys about FEMA. This is why I want to talk to you about the bug that is going to be coming. It's going to happen. Okay. All the markers are there. I've already done it. I took the time off to do a lot of research, a lot of digging, and a lot of fucking hours dedicated to bringing this to light. And I really don't care. I know what I'm up against personally by doing this. Okay. But I just don't care. It's not that I don't care. I do care, but I don't care about me. Why? I just had my 3rd grandchild, a little girl, precious little angel, beautiful, in NICU. Hopefully till the end of February. Hopefully I can get her home soon enough. Okay. Mom and kid are doing just great. It's about my kids and it's about my grandkids. What are they going to inherit? And I will fight like hell, tooth and nail, to ensure that this president succeeds and he gets the right people around him to save our fucking asses. Because right now, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like how they're trying to handle him. I don't like how they're trying to control him. I don't like the information that they're feeding him. Okay. And I do not see that offensive aggressiveness that I saw in him in the beginning of 2016, which the ball was dropped there too, but he was surrounded by more vultures than he is today. He has to start with the main carnivore, which is the FBI, middle management. These are the ones that were under Director Wray at the time from the previous administration that raised their right hands, and they're an obstacle in the road, preventing him from doing shit. Bondi, she's got to go. Okay, because the people now don't give a shit that the eggs came down. They don't care that milk has come down. They don't care that they have cheaper gas. That's icing on the cake, if you will. But the cherry on top that the American people are screaming for today is accountability. They want these demonic people in handcuffs. They want them swinging from a noose. They want them in Gitmo. They want tribunals. They want results that they campaigned on, that they voted for, And we are lacking in that department. But the other side knows this. They're smart. They're not stupid. They may sound and come across stupid, but trust me, communists are not stupid. They've been at this game for over 500 fucking years. They know the game. They invented the game. Okay? And they're in this to win it by hook or by crook, whether it's through immigration,
whether we like it or not, we're stuck in this game.
And we're stuck in it. We're stuck in it, folks. We are stuck in this shit. And I am telling you, Ghost is telling you, and a lot of other creators out there are telling you the same thing. 2026, the shit's going to hit the fan. It's here. It's go time. All I'm saying in tonight's message is simply this: prepare by any means necessary. If you say, oh, we're going through financial struggles, I don't have the time or the money. No, make the time. Your life depends on it. You don't have the money? Hey, here's an idea for you. Go through your storage closet. Go through your garage. You have a storage unit. Do a yard sale. Sell whatever you can. eBay, shit that you don't need. An old TV, I don't know, a fucking typewriter if you have one. Whatever the case may be, anything that has some sort of value, sell it. Find a way to come up with the money to buy what you need to prepare. Because I am telling you, we are going to have mass casualties in this country because people are going to get caught with their fucking pants down, okay, and they're not going to be ready. And that's when you're going to get the knock on the door. You're going to get these, Kool-Aid drinkers that didn't prepare, didn't plan ahead, okay? And all of a sudden, their kids' bellies are hurting because they're hungry, and you're going to get that knock on the door. And that's going to be the threat, is going to be your neighbor, because it happened to me in Cuba, okay? Your neighbors are going to come knocking. They're going to be very nice and polite in the beginning. After that, they're not going to ask anymore. They're going to come and take because they know that you prepared.
People know you have, number one. Number two, there are records of your purchases, so spread out your supplies. Don't keep them all in one place. Spread them out, because FEMA has the right, based on your purchasing records of ammunition, of anything, to come to your home and say, you're a hoarder, and we're going to take this from you. So get very creative in how you spread out your supplies, and don't let people know you have it.
Here's another tip too.
This is just the hard, cold fact of survival. Medical supplies. Get whatever you can. I can do minor surgery if I had to.
Yeah.
But that's me.
That Ghost is talking about. I don't know if it's Starlink retriangulating or not, but you're coming in and out.
I think it is Starlink. Yeah.
If you're going to go and buy supplies, long-term food at Costco or wherever the place may be,
or storm system coming over us right now, huge storm system, so it's going to get bad. It's going to get a bit rocky.
Okay. Don't do it in the daytime, right? Get your gear, get your preps, whatever it is that you need to acquire. I don't care what it is. Do it at nighttime. Less people out in the street. Neighbors are not looking. Okay. Do it in the dark as much as you can and get it in your house or wherever it is you're going to take it to. Don't do it in the daytime. Prying eyes. I'm telling you. You have snoopy neighbors looking through the windows. Oh my God, what is all? He's unloading cases of water. He's unloading whatever the case may be. They know that you got the stuff. You're going to get a knock on the door. I'm telling you. Do it at night. Do it discreetly. All right? It's just a tip. I'm telling you. This shit is going to get real. I pray it doesn't happen, but guess what? All the indicators right now are pointing that in that direction. This thing has to go down. It has to be scorched earth. It's got to be burned to the fucking ground, and it's got to be rebuilt. You want to get the republic back? Sorry. Freedom comes at a price. It ain't free. There will be blood.
The bill is coming due.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
It comes to feeding my child and medicating my child, and your child is sick. My heart goes to you. Sorry, I don't have it.
I'm just saying. And be quiet. Don't be spreading it around. All right? Keep your
Don't talk about it.
conversation on the phone, text messaging. Don't even vocalize it or put it out there. Your survival
Just do
gear
it quietly.
stays with you. It's nobody's business. I don't care if it's family members. I don't care, because they're going to be the first ones. Okay, they're going to be the first ones because they didn't listen. Well, Armando's a conspiracy theorist. He's crazy. But guess what? When you're going to be in need, they're going to be the first ones knocking on the door. Okay, it's a repeat of history. Happened already to me, so I already know. All I'm saying, guys, is prepare. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Spread the message. Share the shit out of this thing. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell people about it. The important thing is the word needs to get out. I know they're going to shut me down. I already know it. It's going to happen next year. All right? So if you guys can support the channel, whatever, just to keep the show running, just to keep this thing going, you know, the merch store is open and stuff like that, just to help, if you can, it's greatly appreciated. But just get the word out is the most important thing right now. That's it. All right? Please, please prepare and spread the word. Let people know. People need to be informed, because you're not going to get it from mainstream. You're not going to get it through cable. You're not going to get it through any of the outlets. You're just not. Independent media is the way to go. The internet. The young generation today relies and they get their news from the internet. They don't get it from television anymore. They don't get it from newspapers. That's even a thing anymore. That's another thing that Trump needs to change. Trump loves the New York Times. The New York Times is a pipeline from the agencies. Okay. And I
It's
don't
the
know why
cabal
he
times.
in New York. All right. He needs to get away from, you know, the boomer mentality of relying on, you know, on those outlets. He needs to get more on the internet side of things, because that's where the future voters, that's where his focus and his attention needs to go to. I hope somebody that I don't know of is listening to this information, and hopefully they can pass this along to him. We love this man. We want to pray for this man. We want to help this man to succeed, but he has got to get firm, and he has got to go on the offensive the same way that these socialists, when they go, or communists go on the offensive, they come at you with everything they got. They bring hellfire. We got to do the same thing. Republicans out there, you sons of bitches better get on board and start bringing some hellfire also as well, because if not, it's not going to be just the end of us. It's going to be the end of you. And then ultimately what's going to happen is we, the people, are going to have to get busy, and we're going to have to do the best we can, okay, and start cleaning up what's coming at us. And it's going to be a mess.
Nasty.
It's going to be a mess. Just know it's coming. Ghost, give me some closing thoughts or any questions, because I think we're done. But again, folks, please like, share, subscribe, follow the channel, man. Support wherever you can, but most importantly, get the message out. Tell a neighbor, tell your family members, hey, it's go time. This shit's about to get real. Get off of autopilot. Get the hell off of autopilot. You better be awake. You better be vigilant. You better have your head on a swivel, because it's coming. It's already here. And it's just going to intensify after New Year's. And anyway, I'll stop. I fucking beating the drum here. Let me see. Sam Spencer. A piece of advice I would give to everyone is find a way to package up dryer lint. Yes, that's a good fire starter, because that makes great for fire starting materials. Yep, absolutely. Sam's on the money here with that. Yep, keep your purchase small and carry them out over time. Yep, Sam, he's good on that too. And do it at night, folks. Yeah. Again, secrecy is the best offensive maneuver that you have. Keep everything in secret. Do it at nighttime. Don't do it during the day. Okay? Do not.
And a complete protein is beans and rice.
Yes. Yes.
You get a dozen. You can get food grade 5-gallon buckets. I switched over to a different network, so I hope it's coming in better, because the cloud cover is now atrocious and the signals are bad. But you can get 5-gallon food grade buckets at Walmart for maybe $5, $6 a bucket. Get yourself as many as you need, stuff them with whether you want to dry preserve rice and beans prior to putting them in there. I didn't. I just put them in there, sealed them with tape, sealed them with a slight vacuum. Hey, if worms start, incubating in there, you just pick them out, no big deal. Wash them out. It's no big deal, and then cook them up. It's a complete protein. Goes a long way. Fills kids' bellies, fills your belly. MREs, if you can buy them, they're expensive now, but I've got a whole stock of MREs, all types of dried foods, dried pastas, uh, you know, um, easily prepared stuff, and plenty of water.
Yes. Water
More
is key.
water than you think you will ever need.
You're going to use it for long-term food. You got to have it. You got to have it.
You,
3
you
meals a
gotta
day,
have it.
1 gallon of water per person in your household. Okay, to be able to prepare those meals. I know people that go out
And
there
for
and buy
drinking,
long-term food, but they forget the water. Well, how the hell, where are you going to get it from? I mean, come on.
hydration is the most important thing,
Correct.
even in winter.
Yes.
3 liters, 4 liters of water per person per day. That's what really sustains you, because you can go 2, 3 days without eating and it's not going to bother you. And if you can't fight your stomach telling you you're hungry, learn how to, because that's how you ration food to last the longest. And if you wrap to ration food, you don't allow pilfering. You don't allow that fat member in your family to get that, sneak that little extra. Doesn't matter. Everyone eats the same ration that will sustain you. Vitamins, I would start stocking up on multivitamins.
Yep.
And I wouldn't keep them as whole. I would crush them into fine. I crush mine into fine powder. I vacuum seal them. You take these very small 1 gram spoons. You know what the dosage is per spoon of vitamin C, powdered vitamin C. You can buy that powder form already. It's much more effective than the pill forms you buy. The multivitamins, you powder them, and you take that small 1 gram spoon a day. That's enough. That and the water and the food ration will keep you going. It will keep you alive. You will not be living to eat. You will be eating to live.
Another
And then
important
you will
tip.
have vigilant guardianship of the house. If you have enough, you're going to have someone on guard 24/7. And if that
Rotating
means every
shift.
4 hours you wake somebody up, you wake somebody up. It's their turn. They walk around the windows. They keep watch on the house. They keep watch that there's no one outside. If there's someone outside, you don't alert them by turning on the lights and yeah, just wake those who have proficiency with weapons. And a house is the most difficult thing to defend. But if someone is going to bust through your front door, you've got the edge if you know they're there. As soon as they come through, you open fire, and you have several opening fire, and you've got it taken care of. Problem solved. The rest will run.
Do
And
not
bag
clear
them if
your
you can. If you bag them if you can while they're running.
do not clear your house either. Okay? Do not clear your house. You know your house layout better than anybody else. Don't go out there clearing a house if you feel that somebody is in your house. You protect the room, get everybody into one area, okay, and pick up and set up a defensive measure, because there's only one way in and out of a room. You have the advantage. Okay? You have the advantage. Call law enforcement if you have to. Okay? Another thing, and a key component that most people always omit, and you can pick this up on Amazon anywhere between 30 to 40 to $50, depending on, what you prepare for. They have good first aid kits that come in a little go pouch, okay, or a bag. Get one. Get as many as you can. hope probably if you can, one for each member of the family. Band-aids, gauze, scissors, knives, whatever, anything that you need.
Blood
First aid kit.
coagulators,
Yeah,
everything from blood coagulators to uh, tourniquets.
exactly.
Get a military grade belt pack field kit that has tourniquets, 2 tourniquets. Get extras if you can, because if you get hit in the arm or leg, you're going to have to stop that immediately, and it's not going to feel good.
It's not. Worst case scenario, stock up on, okay, I don't want to be gross here, but stock up on tampons. Tampons is a good absorbent for treating a wound, whether it's a knife wound or a bullet wound or whatever. Stock up on that too. Okay. I remember back from the uniform days. Okay. It's a good thing to
If you
carry.
can't get
If you can't get
abdominal
thing,
pads and gauze, get those, get sanitary napkins and the pads, all of it.
Yep.
They work well.
All right, folks.
Ace wraps, tapes, 4x4s, 2x2s, all of that. And if you know how to suture, get sutures and suture equipment. You can get them out on the internet. I've got more. I could suture up 300 people with what I have. I didn't actually intend on it, but that's what I accidentally ordered. So
get yourself some lumber also. Get yourself some lumber also as well. Thin, planks of wood that are straight and they're firm and they're sturdy in case you ever have to, apply it to an arm or a leg just to keep it in place. All these things, man. You guys have to think outside the box on this stuff. But all I can tell you, folks, is this, man. I hope none of this shit happens. I hope it blows over and everything comes up, rosy, sunshine and lollipops, unicorns start farting rainbows and things like that. But you know what? I just don't see it. I don't see it. All the markers out there, all the indicators, I mean, the probabilities are just up there. They just are. This is going to intensify. So with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in. I know it was a long one, and I put that on the thumbnail out there, marathon, and we did it. We're almost going, so let me see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 4 hours. And stay tuned in. I will probably be dropping unscheduled streams in case I get information, anything that is critical or important. Just be aware of that. The links on my Discord, all my links, the socials, everything to contact me, email, everything is in that QR code you see up there on your screen. If you haven't scanned it, please do if you feel like it. It gives you access to me, access to everything and all important links, including Discord. If you're not following me on Discord, please do so, because that is the first thing that I hit when I put show announcements, emergency streams, any announcements, go there. Okay. So with that, again, keep your head on a swivel. Thanks for coming by. Just be alert, guys. Above all, God bless. Thank you for stopping by. Today, we will catch you guys on the next one. Ghost, if you want to close us out, go ahead.
Just be prepared and God bless, because God is in you and it's with you all the time.
Amen to that. All right, folks.
You don't have to even think twice.
Love you all, man. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.